Let's make sure I got, okay, pen is working. Screwed that up, didn't I? Alrighty. Alright, so we are putting out some data. Make sure that's all good. Get this all nice and even again. Looks like we are starting. So this is Nuke Marine, bringing you the suggested guide for Japanese literacy self-study course from Memrise. Currently, we're on course. Currently, this is me teaching course number 3. I've been doing it for the last 2 weeks or whatnot. Actually, since the last week of December or whatnot, trying to get all through these, doing about 2 lessons or so a day, roughly. Reteaching this, or teaching it for the first time as opposed to me reviewing it. Again, if you're watching this for the first time, if you're just coming back, you already know all this. Nothing new. So it is a Thursday. It's right now 2:30 p.m. my time because I live in Japan. And all seems to be going well. Let me make sure the audio is working. This is nothing new. Alright, audio does work. And bring up, just in case anybody wants to go and make a comment or something in the YouTube chat, in the YouTube live stream chat, and they can do that. I should be able to see it. I'm not going to be able to for some reason it keeps showing 0 people are watching, even though there probably is more than 0 people watching at any one time. Especially as the stream goes on, people do start dropping in. It just doesn't indicate it till I see them make a comment pop up. Such is life. I wonder if it has to do with maybe with what am I thinking? Ad blocks. Keep thinking it has something to do with that. But anyway, yeah. So this will be course 3. Let's see, and I think hopefully I'll feel better today. I'm feeling a little bit better now, and you know, when I'm finished, I can get back and take on these reviews here and just knock them down to 0. That way they don't get accidentally build up too much and whatnot. Don't need to be doing that because again, it's been about, you know, ever since that, and again since late December, again, I haven't been adding anything new because I've been doing, instead, just dedicating completely just doing these streams where it's just teaching old material I've already covered myself. And that's fine, because when all's said and done, I'll have roughly 30 hours worth of video to help teach Kanji, which is a darn good payoff. And then after that, I can continue on, since I'll be doing course 8 here, then I'll be moving on into doing, you know, again, remembering the Kanji part 2, optimized part 2, which is going to be, again, I got about 400 or so Kanji left to complete in that one. And by the time we get all up into here, then I got to go and start thinking about, I need to really then get to the process of getting the intermediate courses all set up. And I think with the intermediate courses, I got to do some thinking, especially for the grammar part of it. But yeah, still keep it simple. You know, even though I want to add a lot more courses, especially I want to add a lot of courses for these, what's called the Japanese drama immersion. The reason why I want to add more courses for these is that, again, this is where the real, true, you are actually learning Japanese. This is if you were doing Duolingo, and Duolingo, essentially this part right here is all Duolingo's offering, you know, which is cool. If this is all it was doing, it would still be pretty damn good. And then the idea with Duolingo is that now you get really good in that language because you're translating native transcripts into your native language. So from Japanese into English. So you can find a bunch of Japanese articles and try to figure out what those mean and translate them into English. That's what the idea is for Duolingo. You know, again, group source translation of documents. Alright, I can't recreate that, but you know, I think what was missing with Duolingo was that if they instead had it to where, hey, you know, if they teamed up with YouTube, and then part of the thing is like YouTube has like the automatic subtitle generation, right? And then maybe it would be is that, oh man, wouldn't that be kind of cool if Duolingo would be, hey, if you're a native speaker, just verify that this subtitles of this audio is perfect, you know, and so just make sure line by line what the subtitle line is saying is is matching up to what's being said on the video. Okay, and then if that gets verified by all the native speakers, then turn around and then use that same video and say, okay, now you people wanting to learn this native language, translate this into your language, and then you can create foreign subtitles for this video. You know, and this could be good for a 5, 10, 20-minute video clip, or you know, or even longer. You know, again, if people just want to have their YouTube video translated into other languages, it could open up the market for them. But again, Duolingo didn't do that. I, again, that's actually would take the work of having the help of would have the help of YouTube and Duolingo would need to be in cooperation with that. I think it's a good idea. I think it's an idea that probably people on both sides are thinking about. I would imagine they would, if they were smart, they would be trying to think about something like that, even if they haven't even gotten together and talked to each other, like saying, hey, we're peanut butter, we're chocolate, let's mix together and make the best little Reese's peanut butter cups there is. But until then, this is what I offer up, which is, okay, here's a drama. It's got the subtitles, it's already got the English subtitles, you got the Japanese subtitles, and it presents them, and then, your job is sort of like, it's not translating, it's just comprehending. So, hey, with this information, do you understand what this audio is saying? And so when you hear the audio, you understand you comprehend it, and then you slowly piece it together, now sentence by sentence. So, okay, can this 1 minute segment, do you understand? Okay, does this 4 minute segment, do you understand? Okay, now do you understand, after you build up all the 4 minute segments, do you understand the entire 1 hour drama? That's the basic idea here. But yeah, and that's, it's a little tedious to recreate, but what I was hoping what Duolingo could do was, automate it. There's so many videos out there from other, in other languages, not just English, and then of course this also helps people learn English. And it's just an amazing resource. Instead of just doing what they're doing now, which is basically, if you go to Duolingo, they're just translating Wikipedia pages, at least the last time I checked. And they don't have anything for Japanese at all, except for they have English for Japanese speakers, which is not what you want to learn. You don't want to use that course to learn Japanese, because it's not geared toward you. Trying to get the flip from trying to figure out what Japanese means when you're an English speaker is what the whole purpose of these grammar courses are for. Tai Kim and later on the Dictionary of Basic Japanese Grammar. And again, this right here, this little course is similar, I think, if you did I think it was like a 60-part courses in Duolingo. It should be around the same level, same amount of time commitment. I'm probably being a bit more demanding of what's required of you in this course. So you'll probably come off a lot better as far as your literacy, your ability to read text of Japanese text. I don't know about speaking, if you'd be able to speak as well, hold low conversations, but that could be trained. It's easier to train after you've got this, higher level. That's why I call it, again, this is the suggested guide for Japanese literacy. Your ability to, and it should add fluency in there, ability to listen, to read and listen to Japanese and understand what's happening. Alright, so that's your literacy when you read it, and then fluency when you're listening to it. And then the opposite side of or the production side of that, when you are speaking or typing in or writing something, is that could be trained. You can get trained to do simple types of, use Lang 8 to do, help train your simple writing skills. Use italki to help train your conversation skills. And what's good is that if you're literate and fluent, be able to hear it, then what the instructor can do, the person who is going to be correcting you, they can be kaile, oh my god. I'm not quite sure why she's saying that, okay. But if you're hearing it from these people, what they can do is they can use it in they can explain in their native language, and you can kind of comprehend what they're saying. Because the production side, you can be making mistakes, but you understand from the listening, you understand what they were saying. You just may not be able to produce it yourself that way. You know what it means, but you're making mistakes when you're trying to recreate it your own and put it in your own way. And that could be good, is that you can keep this all in the Japanese language, native to that, and that's a good level to be at. Not only to, you're saying something, but they're not fixing what you're saying, and they're not speaking English when they fix you. They'll be speaking Japanese when they fix what you say, which could be a good thing. And that's very difficult to do when you're at a very low level. Like if you're in this level here, when you're barely N5, which is equivalent of like A1 or A0 to A1 in other language fields. It's just, you have to kind of teach people using their native language to at least bridge that gap, because they're already a master of the language, and from their point of view in their native language, to try to somehow ignore that makes the job of learning harder. Again, helps make an easier bridge. Till again, the bridge of pure Japanese can be developed. All right. With that said, let me get into the kanji part of things. Okay. Spend about 10 minutes just wasting time. All right. So we're on remembering the kanji part 1. Remember the kanji optimized part 1. So again, that's been covering 555 kanji. Right now we've already just finished. Yesterday I finished lesson 30. So that's 450 kanji of the 555. So we're getting really close to being done here. Got like 7 more lessons to cover, and boom, all done with all these videos. And I can then go through, get the time link stamps done, and get that all posted and start. And then throughout here in each of these areas, I'm going to be posting links to those videos, where you can find it, and then that should be fine when that's all said and done. And yeah, where to go to next? I need to make sure these are on each of these as well. All right, and apparently Memorize for their in-house has it to where you can, when you finish one course, it gets you straight into the next course, and that's kind of cheating, if I got to compete with that, but that's all good. All right, let me just see something real quick. Anyway, this is Memorize on its own. I'll tell you what, this is home. Let's do okay, let's go to courses, just for fun. And let's see, I speak English, and I want to, let's say I'm learning Japanese. All right, and like I said, these are the top level courses, and these obviously are going to have a lot, because again, that's the first thing people see Japanese 1. They're going to click on it and like, oh my god, I need to learn it. The problem is it's not that great of a course. This JLPT boot camp is a much better course compared to this one and whatnot. And let's say I click on kanji. Now here's the thing though, for me, on the bright side, now someone's already posted a Heisig book. That's all 2,000 kanji if I remember correctly. And here's mine, so that's kind of good in that when people come to at least look for remembering the kanji, again, this thing pops up at least on the front page of their search. I mean, they got to go down a little further, but so that's at least visibility. It could be the best course in the world, but if nobody sees it, no one's gonna try it. So that's again why I've been going to, again, I go here and I keep mentioning it from the Memorize course forward. I come here and again I occasionally keep saying, hey, I've got this being built, and I'm going to add that. Then I come here to Shitsu Monday, and again I get post, or whenever somebody has a question I post it, hey, try this out. Is this bringing visibility? So yeah, and and again, to me it feels arrogant to say this is a great course, but at least for my money, based on personal experience, I think I put together a good thing, and it's not just stuff that I made. Again, it's just sort of like collecting it and making it in a format that's more presentable for the beginner, and presenting it in a way that beginners can accept it and learn fast from it. And hopefully get over that big hump of, and it's hard to say, that big hump of, that again trying to get into Japanese can create. Because there's something where people aren't making that jump from college Japanese to using Japanese for real. Okay, let me just get. All right, so I'm going to be going to lesson 31. There's 30. Here's 31. All right, and here's the tutorial. So this is lesson 30, which we did clear up yesterday. So here's 31. From the looks of it, we're going to be, let's see, we're still doing overgrown garden or overgrown yard. We're going to add life. Looks like bonsai here, and yeah, it looks like scarecrow later on. There's the, we got the little ma mark. Let's see, and then we got west and value, so there, which I was kind of talking about when we got to Saki. So this should be good too. This should be fun. Should not be kind of like yesterday. Yesterday I took too long. Okay, we got clear up here. All right, so it looks like we are set to go. Okay, let me write the time down and let's get it on. Okay, so we're at 14 minutes 40 seconds. It's the 13th today. It's Thursday. It's like 2:47 p.m. here. Alright, so 14 minutes 40 seconds, and let us begin. Welcome. This is Nuke Marine presenting the Suggested Guide for Japanese Literacy course series on Memorize. Currently I am teaching is course number 3, which is Remembering the Kanji Optimized, Part 1. Presenting the 555 kanji from the first book of the 2001 Kanji.Odyssey book series by Coscom, and presenting those in the Remembering the Kanji order. Now, we are currently on lesson 31, which we have just passed the 450 kanji count. We've got another 7 lessons to go, which is roughly 105 kanji before the end of this course, and then you as the student should be moving into learning Japanese grammar via Taikem, or if you want to use a different book, that's fine. And also later after that, also moving into learning grammar or learning vocabulary, which is going to be from Core 2K, 6K optimized, if you're following this SGJL course. So let's start with our previews. Remember, first one should be surface. Let's see if it keeps up with that order. Alright, and surface is the first character. Alright. As always, as in the last 30 lessons, we introduced the Heisei keyword, which has a rough meaning to this particular kanji presented. But it is also a unique word to the entire list of 3,000 words presented. I'll also be presenting other meanings that it can take up based on the Japanese words, vocabulary that happens to use this kanji. I will then be presenting some Japanese vocabulary words itself, and then the idea is it's not for you to memorize these vocabulary words or to memorize the pronunciation attached to this kanji, this Japanese pronunciation. Don't memorize that yet. That happens in the vocabulary section, and it works out really well when you just hold this off. Like, learn the 555 in English, and you already got up to 450. So again, this is where, again, round about the halfway point is where people can sometimes start running into difficulties. Keep pushing. All right, you're near the finish line, and when you get into the grammar, that's when you start really you start realizing having all this kanji at your disposal becomes a very useful tool. So keep it up. But anyway, this will be the vocabularies that use the pronunciation. Let me activate my Rihai-kun. Come on. Takes a minute or so. There we are. Okay, and we should be ready. Alright, so this Heisei keyword is surface. You may also refer to it as a table or chart diagram, so it's probably something that's laid out flat, surface. Let's see what we have. We have as amolte, surface, the face, the visible side of an object, the front of a building, the observable side of a coin. Okay, then we also have yo as a reference to a table or chart list. So arawase, I think that's to make an appearance, to appear. Let's see, then we have amote there. We also have is yo men, first word, surface, outside, the face, the appearance. Okay. Daio, first word, representative, delegation, type, or model. Yeah, the person who represents the group. Happyo, announcement or publication. Yeah, so these words I remember they should be in Core 2K when you come up. Okay, so when you look at this kanji, you kind of see it looks like the overgrown front yard or overgrown grass, and then also it looks below it you have a scarf. Now, or in this case, the overgrown grass is looking like it's taking place of the scarf or the top hat of the garments. So let's say surface. So growing up, the surface of a kid's scarf was always covered with crust from wiping their nose on it. And they're saying crust, so yeah. So let's say surface, we got scarf. So maybe you could say is you laid the scarf down, and on the front surface you see maybe it was a big old scarf that had a lot of gunk on it, because you maybe had a dog running through the yard with it. So I laid the scarf down on the surface of the mat, and then all the seeds and things it picked up from grass grew up, and it became an overgrown grass or overgrown yard of itself. So the grass growing out of the overgrown surface of the scarf. So surface. What did they say? So yeah, so grow up is overgrown grass or overgrown yard, and then scarf. Let's look at the stroke order real quick. let's get down to it first. So we'll say, here's clear up from yesterday. And we got pure, quiet, blame, exploits, volume, bond, pickling. Here we have his surface. And we're saying grow up in rags. I think I can see why they're saying rags. This character represents the outside of a garment. Okay, back. Just kanji for back represents the inside or lining. Okay, so let's look at the stroke order. So 1, 2, so 10, and then 2. 10 and 2 makes the overgrown surface. And you're saying rags. I think because I don't think rags is more relevant. This looks like scarf, so we're going to keep it with scarf. All right, so let's draw it. Come here. All right, so remember for surface, so we want to do 10. So we do 10, 10 and 2. That makes surface. And then down here we want to do the so that's the overgrown grass. Overgrown grass is growing on the surface of the scarf. So think of surface of the scarf, and a bunch of overgrown grass is growing on the surface. So we want to do rags. Now let me change that back. Okay, so kind of like person, but you want to do it with the hook. All right. So there's the overgrown. There's the overgrown grass. There's the rags or scarf, and then basically kind of like the part of water, slash, and maybe it should be a term for doing that because we do it in quite a few kanji. But anyway, this is surface. Next kanji, proportion. Now you can look at the proportion. You can look at the kanji. You see house, overgrown grass, mouth. We're going to find out that means like oh, we'll figure it out. Okay, so proportion. We'll find out that means harm, and then saber. So anyway, this is proportion. It could mean comparatively, to divide something. So this is like a cut, a separate or piece. Like this is like if you ever heard of having a price off, it would say like waribiki. It's just or to divide something. So it's like wari to divide up. Yeah, in fact, there it is, wari. Rate, ratio, proportion, percentage. It usually is in units of 10%. So san wari would be 30%. Let's see, what else we have? Yeah, there's the wari. Katsai. First word, giving something up reluctantly, omitting, leaving out. Not seeing that. Kakkyo. First entry, holding one's ground, defending local authority. Okay. And bunkatsu. Partition, division, separation. Alright, so those are some words. Now, here's a quick story. The amount of harm, so that first thing, house, overgrown yard, and mouth is harm, can be done by sabers directly proportional to its size. So saber in proportion, so cut off 10%, cut off 30% using the saber to do that. Let's look up Heisig real quick, because we're gonna see something about harm, and we'll cover that when we get to it. Okay, so here we have a surface, bag, undefiled, pledged, consume. Okay, so here we have is harm, house, grow up, overgrown, and mouth. I tell you what, I'm gonna show you it, but let me draw it out to you real quick. This is not a kanji to remember, but for harm. So you get a house. So think of harm. So I guess you could say is imagine the harm of, let's see, a house that's been overgrown with grass. Okay, so it's very harmful to the neighbors, either harmful to the neighbor's property value or harmful to the neighbor's safety, because it could get a lot of, maybe a fire could break out, so that could be harm. And the neighbors, like the mouth could be representing the neighbors of the, the people that are saying, hey, cut your grass, it's causing us harm, it's harming our property value. So that you could do that. So that's harm, but you don't have to memorize that. Then we have, let's see, harm, control. Now this is what we want, proportion. So think of proportion. So we're going to do that harm again. So let's look up, so we're going to do it over here. So we think of harm. So there's the house with the overgrown lawn, and then there's the neighbors yelling with their mouths, hey, cut your lawn, you're harming our property value. So we'll do that. So we got the house, and then what can help is the proportion of seriousness. You're going to take the proportion of the yelling seriously based on the size of the saber the neighbor happens to be wielding. So it could be the little neighbor, maybe he's wielding the saber to go and cut, he's going to threaten to cut the grass himself, keep it off his side. Anyway, so that's harm. And saber. So this is all proportion. Harm and saber. Proportion. Next kanji. Alright, now we have his life. So we already got the overgrown grass. So now we want to do a drop. So a drop of that grass. That could be a blade, getting down to smaller that and get down to a cell. So this is life. So this represents in that overgrown grass is there's basically a subculture of life. There's bugs, insects, snakes, mice, scorpions, whatever in there. This is all representing of life, genuine. Now, in Japanese terms, when you see this, it can also refer to genuine. So like you hear nama beer, or something that is just fresh or very fresh, birth. So like if it's from a can, it's different than if it's coming from if it's poured from draft, which they would say like namabiru for that part. Or namahamu means fresh ham, not cooked. It's raw. Alright, so this is reference to cell. So anyway, this is called life. Life changing birth. This is used in a lot of words. Like ikeru, are you to live? Let's see. Nama, raw, uncooked or fresh. Ubu, innocent, naive, unsophisticated. Ki, pure, undiluted, raw, crude. And then also show, life, living, I, me, myself. I don't know. I don't see it as a... So it has many meanings. So I probably don't need to go into... So these vocabulary words are going to be you're going to be all over the place. So here we have is seikatsu, living one's life, one's daily existence. Hake, second word, outbreak, spring forth, occurrence, incidents. Sensei, so this is a teacher, a master, a doctor. It also could be the name of a politician, and it's the name of a teacher and also doctor. Yeah, sensei. Let's see. Shometsu, birth and death. Isho, I think it should be the first word. Yeah, it's the first word. The whole life, a lifetime, all throughout one's life. So you see how seeing how this represents life. Danjo, birth, creation, formation. Alright, so let's look what Isaac has to say on it real quick. So we got control, proportion, constitution. Here we have his life. Single drop added to the overgrown garden. So it's like a drop of the overgrown garden. That just represents of the entirety of life. It could be in a single cell. So that's what we're saying right here, a single cell. That, again, single cell of life grows up into a human. Stroke order real quick. So, what? Alright, give me a second. I might have to pause it real quick to answer the door. Okay. Alright. Not quite sure what they're here for, but might have to interrupt for about 1 or 2 minutes to go and get a package delivered. Alright. By the way, that's the sound of a doorbell in Japan, a standard doorbell in Japan. Okay, so anyway, so this is 1, 2, so do similar to doing the laying down, then finish off the 10 and then the 2. Let's draw it. So life. I said like a drop, it's almost like think of life, think about it's like a drop of, here's the lay down. In fact, let me do a new one. Let me control delete. Let me just do a new one here. Alright, so you're going to need a drop of life. Just think of a cell. A drop of life is a cell. So we're going to do lay down. There's 10. Down 10. Then finish up with the 2. Alright, and that's life. Alright, let me go get the package at the door real quick and I'll be right back. Sorry about that. There we go. Guess it's a travel card or something. Alrighty. delivery for my wife. Alrighty, sorry about that. Okay, so anyway, this is life. Life. Again, separate from overgrown yard or grow up, whatever that was. So this is life. Boom. Next kanji. Okay, now we have is sex. Now this is more like usually for about gender. So it's like your sexual identity, your gender, your nature. So like your mental nature of how you act in life. All right. You can see it's like state of mind dealing with life. State of mind dealing with life. Okay, sex, but mainly about sex, gender, not the act of sex. Here we go. Words that use it. So we got say, nature of a person, sex, gender. Okay, we got saga, one's nature, one's destiny. Let's see, narikusei, one's nature, one's destiny. Custom there. Okay, almost the same thing. All right, so here we have is sei shitsu, nature, property, disposition. There's also the fifth word, sei shi, life and death. Risei, reason or sense. Dansei, that's just a term for a male or a man. So that's referring to a male gender. So josei would be female gender. Stop that. Let's see what we have then. Shobun. Shobun, nature, disposition. Okay. Aisho, affinity or compatibility. Konjo, first entry. Willpower, guts, temperament. Alright, so you can see there's a lot of mind. Alright, so here it's saying sex. My sex or gender. Whoa, sorry. Since the Tin Man came to life and was called the Tin Man, but he wondered, did he have a gender? Like, what made him man as opposed to not woman? Tin Woman instead of Tin Man. Okay. So yeah, for sex or gender. The Tin Man, and wondered about his life, since he didn't start from a cell. He started from a, he started from a drop of metal. Alright, so okay, so we're going to hear is gender, or sex. So just imagine, again, we've already imagined the Tin Man. So there's the Tin Man. And he's wondering, did he, life as a man, his gender, his sex or gender start when he, from a cell, or a drop of a cell, or was he built as he was? Okay, these are questions that keep him up at night. So that's gender, as opposed to this is life, this is gender. Okay, next kanji. Product. So here now we have is again we're having cell or life. So this is product. So it's to bear. Also could mean give birth, to yield, childbirth. Native and property. So I think the cell here could be kind of interesting about the, this could be representing the woman who's giving birth to that one cell. We'll find out. So we have umu, and which is to give birth. Let's see. We have ubu, innocent, naive, unsophisticated. Also san, reference to birth or childbirth or delivery. Ubu. Sambyo, so it's a san, but sambyo. So this could be industry. Sangyo, industry. Sangyo, industry. Seisan. Third word, seisan, production or manufacturer. Finally, shusan. First word, childbirth, delivery, production, or it also could be production of goods. Alright, so here we have is one story they say. If you were to stand up all the products you have accumulated over the course of your entire life on top of one another, the result would probably be as tall as a cliff. So imagine standing up on top of the cliff and, maybe talks out everything you have since you started as a cell, and, basically that's your concept of life. It's like the cell could be representing, so the cliff could be representing the build up all the cells that are your blocks of your body, and then ultimately leading to you being able to stand up on top of everything that's built upon it. Kind of a half-assed way of explaining it, but okay. Alright, so there it is. So doing stand, and so that's a cliff, so standing and cliff are merged together, then we end it with the cell of life, or life. So we got life, star, surname, sex or gender, animal sacrifice. So here we have his products: vase, cliff, cell. Alright, so let's do this. All right, we'll keep it on this again. So again, it's so when you think of products, just imagine the products of your life, the products of your life. As you stand atop a cliff, let's say you're in the afterlife. So let's do stand. We're going to merge that with cliff. Okay. So standing atop a cliff, and the cliff is actually a combination of your all the cells that make up you. All the cells that make up what is you. And that's the product of your life. So it's like the product of your life, the product of your life's work, if you need to. It means that, you stand upon the cliff that's built of the products of your life work. Next kanji. How are we doing on time? That's the 5th one. We're at 20 minutes, so we might be taking an hour on this, depends. Now we're going to introduce this bonsai tree and sun. But anyway, springtime. So this is Haru. I think we did summer already. We did winter and autumn, so this would be the last one, Haru, spring. So yeah, this could be springtime, spring as in season. It's also used in a lot of female names, but Haru. Springtime. Don't confuse it with Hare, which is to clear up. So this is Haru. Springtime, the new year, prime of one's life. Also adolescence. Here we have is Haru. To stick, to paste. No, ignore that. Springtime, new year. So that's Haru. Then we have is Shunki, spring. There's also Shunki. Second word was sexual desire. Okay. Rishun. The first day of spring. Okay. Then we have is Seishun, youth, springtime of life, adolescence. Okay. All right. So now let's go to Isaac. So in the springtime, the sun. There's a sun. It shines under a bonsai tree. Springtime, the day starts getting longer, so the sun is starting to rise up, and you start to appear under the bonsai tree. Who knows? Okay, we got products, got hump. Now here it's going to do is do bushes. I don't think we have, I don't know if we use bushes. I'll show it real quick. So let me delete this. Okay, so we already had, here is like overgrown yard. So it's not too easy to tell. It's like, make sure I'm not, yeah, okay, it is 3 and stick. Alright, so this is going to be a little different. So this is doing 3 stick. So that becomes bushes. But now what we're going to do is bonsai. So let's keep going. So we have summit, sow, worship, longevity, casting, Christmas tree. I don't think I have to worry too much about it. I'll tell you what, let's do bonsai real quick. Alright, so this is like bushes, but now what we're going to do, and make sure I'm not lying to you, yes, connected at the second one. Alright, so what we're going to do is similar to bushes. So what we're going to do is for bonsai trees, do 3. So almost like you're doing 3. Okay, we're going to do it's kind of like we're doing person. So it's kind of like we ever seen bushes, but it's bushes that has been treated well by a person. So that could be, and there's the bunch of the branches of the bushes because they're really small shrubs. It looks like a kind of a overgrown garden, but in this case, it's been treated very well by a human person, and that's that ends up becoming the bonsai tree. All right, so we got bonsai tree. Next thing's going to should be springtime. So we have bonsai. I shouldn't be saying bonsai tree. Alright, so let's do that. So we're going to do for springtime. Think of springtime is when the bonsai trees grow the best because they have the most sun. They experience the sun the best in springtime. Sun because they have to be treated very well. It's too cold in the winter and it's too hot in the summer. So in the springtime is when the bonsai gets the best benefit from the sun. So let's do the 3 strokes for the 1, 2, 3 for the Let's say those are the branches of it. And we want to do the person that's kind of like the gardener of the bonsai tree. Alright, and again, and then of course this is summertime or springtime. So remember, that's when the sun really comes out. This is finished off with sun. Alright, and that's springtime. And just so what we now have, so we have Shushinkini. So we have spring, just for the seasons. So we have spring, you learned. We have summer, which is head on big head on stilts. We have spring, summer. Then we have autumn, which is where the wheat takes on the color of fire. So that's autumn. And then we have winter, which is, you know, again, slipping on stilts. So this is, I guess, for the 4 seasons. Yeah, and then we already learned season, which is wheat, kind of flattened right there, and child. Alright, and that's seasons. Okay, so this is what we have learned throughout the, and in addition to a lot more. So that's springtime. Next kanji. So again, bonsai and sun, springtime. Reality. Now, this is again going back to bonsai. If you know, bonsais are very, very delicate plants, so they're having to be kept protected from the reality of, you know, nature by being placed in little houses and placed in the Japanese gardeners' houses. Okay, so reality. In this case, reality or truth. Here we have is makoto, truth, reality, sincerity. Okay, mi, a fruit, nut, or a seed. Kane, pit, stone, core, tongue. Yeah, a few words. So you have is mi, minoru. Let's see, we have jitsuroku, real ability, your true strength, your merit, your efficacy. Like, yeah, not the hint. Then we have jitsuri, second word, use, utility, profit, or gain. Also the third word, jitsuri, practical theory or principle. So reality. Jujitsu, probably not the let's see, jujitsu, fullness, completion, perfection. I was about to say, I don't think this is the jujitsu of the, because that would probably be jujitsu as opposed to jujitsu. Jujitsu. Jitsuni. Indeed, really, absolutely, truly. So you can say it's got reality, a little bit, yeah, no, don't confuse it with truth, with the kanji for truth, although they kind of work together. So here we have away from reality. You see, bonsais are grown under a house, away from the harsh reality of the real world where they wouldn't survive. Okay, reality. Well, let's see. So here we have springtime, camellia, peaceful, play music. Here's reality, house and bonsai. House and bonsai. Reality. Okay. So I'll tell you what, we'll keep it on this page. So we want to do, so when you think of reality, think of where house is protecting from the reality of the real world. Which is, that could be, you know, house protects you from reality of life, you know, which, again, until it becomes strong enough to handle reality on its own. So it's not necessarily a bad thing to protect somebody from the harsh realities of the world. There's the house, there's the 3 things relating to bonsai, there's the... Alright, and sometimes you'll see it, like, let me look at the stroke orders. Like you see here, sometimes the stroke connects around the second one. In this case, reality is actually connecting underneath at the bottom stroke of the 3. So we'll just redo that real quick to represent what we're seeing here. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's kind of ugly. We kind of like 3 little strokes here and there. And it kind of goes through. And that's reality. Very ugly reality there. Yeah, just me and this sketch pad does not get along sometimes. Alright. So that's that one. Let's do the next kanji. Oh, good. We're going to be introducing to Scarecrow. That's what on the right side, Scarecrow. So this is Sino. If you've been studying kanji, this is the kan of kanji. We already learned ji, which is character, but now we're learning the kan, which means Sino or China, basically relating to China, historic or ancient China, Sino or China. Where does it use it? So here it is, kanji. Third word, kanji. Chinese characters, kanji. Kango. which is Chinese words, Sino-Chinese words. Mongai Kan, outsider, layman, and amateur. All right, and then let's see, Otoko, honorable man, Otoko, and Kan. Usually the Chinese are referring to the Han Dynasty or man. All right, so story real quick. In the water between Japan and China, the Sino side had put up scarecrows, the Chinese side, to try and keep the Japanese away. Alrighty, so that's one of the stories. What else do we have? Alright, so that's it right there. So okay, so right now we've got reality, cornstalk, we'll worry about that later. Dedicate, stippen, rod. Here we have his cabbage. Now here, he's saying cabbage, and we'll find this leads into being scarecrow on as we keep going. So there's cabbage, discreet, diligence. Here we are, scarecrow. So it's taking cabbage, and imagine the cabbage was stuck onto the body of something with the farmer's clothing, and then that becomes the head for the scarecrow. So let's teach scarecrow. So you can start to see it's flower, mouth, and then basically kind of like doing husband that but intersects the this is not teaching. Let me just make sure. So here's the stroke orders, just so you can see it visibly. So do the mouth, then you're going to do basically which is husband, and then the stroke of the person is going to bisect the mouth, and this is going to become the scarecrow. So let's make sure. So let's do scarecrow real quick. Then we'll do kanji or kanji. So we're going to do flowers. So flowers can represent like the cabbage that is put on top of the head. All right, and you want to have also the mouth of the scarecrow, which can represent, again, this is going to be the head of the scarecrow, and it's going to be dressed in the husband's clothing. So you got the flowers represents the cabbage or the pumpkin that is the head of the scarecrow, the mouth, because you need to have something that looks at you. Then you want to do the husband, because you need to put clothing on the scarecrow. In fact, let me show that in two different strokes. All right, so do the two, and then finally. You can touch this. This is really ugly. Okay, so you got the two, bisect it. There it is. And this is scarecrow. Now we're going to do his kanji. Let's see if he touches on this or not. So we got bat, cabbage, discreet, diligent. Here's scarecrow, Sino. Keyword here refers to things in Chinese in general. Okay. In fact, it's used as in the kanji for kan of kanji. So let's draw it. So kanji. So remember, it's on the water side. You put up these scarecrows in order to scare away the invading army from, let's say again, this is about scaring away, because we want to use scarecrows. So we think of water. So think of the Chinese, the Sino-Chinese, Sino-Chinese. So we want the water side of the Sino-Chinese, and on the water we want to put up all the scarecrows. So we'll do this in 3 parts, just because there's the flower or the cabbage head of the head scarecrow. There's the mouth that you paint on the cabbage, and then the husband, which represents the clothing of the scarecrow. All right, that's kan of kanji. There you go. All it took you was 30 or so hours of studying to get you to be able to write the kanji. Because here's when you got that out, then all you gotta do is do G or character. There, now you got it. There's kanji. Now you can officially say, yes, you know kanji. There it is, kanji. Next kanji. All right, now it's difficult. So we have scarecrow and turkeys. Difficult. Now this is difficult, impossible, trouble, could be accident or defect. You usually hear about difficulty. So let's say we have non-difficulty, hardships, defect. We have muzakashi, which means difficult. Katai is roughly. Let's see. Here we have as non-e, difficulty, relative difficulty. We have ko-nan, difficulty or distress. Hinan, looks like the first and second word. So first word is hinan, is blame, attack, criticism. The second word is taking refuge, shelter, or evacuation. Okay. And third word, blame, attack, criticism. Okay. So anyway, this is difficult, impossible, troubling. Here's the story real quick. It is difficult for a scarecrow to scare. It is difficult for a scarecrow to scare turkeys, or else they would have been called scare turkeys. So here's a picture of the scarecrow. I don't like using the scarecrow from the Wizard of Oz. You could if you want to, because that's a good visual. Help his plight, telling Dorothy his plight while the turkeys attack him. It's very difficult for the scarecrow to scare off turkeys. So that works. If you want to use the scarecrow from the Wizard of Oz, that's okay. It combines with the Tin Man rather well for Kanji stories. Let's keep it in here. So again, difficult. When you think of difficult to scare turkeys. For the scarecrow to scare turkeys. We're going to do the, we'll do the scarecrow, so we're on this side. Alright, so you notice we're on the opposite side. And alright, then we want to do the turkey. So there's the scarecrow having a difficult time scaring off the turkeys. So let's do turkey, and we'll do it in 2 parts. Okay. Since it's been a while, I'll Alright, there it is. Difficulty. Muzukashi. Katai. Difficult. Next kanji. Alright, now we're going to be learning something called grain silo. So again, we're on the farm. If you ever used to visuals of farms in the U.S., you see usually a red barn. In there's this thin, tall tower of something. That's called a silo. It's usually a grain silo. So you put grains in through the top, and that way you can then feed it out through the bottom. Normally, how that works. You got to be really careful about combustion in that thing. The dust of the wheat will. Anyway, that's a different story. Anyway, so this is called ride. Now this could be to ride something. You can also have multiplication, power, record, counter for vehicles. To board something, so to ride or to board something, to mount or to join up with something. So noru, to ride, like ride a bicycle, ride a train. No seru, to give somebody a ride. Here we have is josu, with multiplier, multiplication. Okay, so jo. Let's see, josha, to taking a train or a bus, to getting on a train. Josha. Taijo teki, to board or to broad. Broad, great. Okay, taijo teki. There we go. Alright, so what are we seeing? We're seeing drop. We're going to find that silo, and we'll be getting to it. So it's a hay ride. You sit on top of the silage, and everyone rides, imitating like old-time farmage. Okay, we'll be getting into that. So this is where Heisig, we're going to have to depend on Heisig for this. So now we got Sino, we got Sai. Here we have his difficulty, scarecrow and turkey. You can kind of tell also from the difference between when it's on the right or the left. Like when it's on the left-hand side as a primitive, it also has that little. It looks like the little trimmed leg. Alright, so here we have his silage. I'm not quite sure what he means by silage. Tell you what, we can do a quick search. So we hear silage. It's right here. And again, this is always a bad thing, but let's see. Let's search for silage. Grass or other green fodder compacted and stored in airtight conditions. Okay, so that's like this right here. So I was thinking of silo, grain silo. Let's see, grain. Yeah, something like that. That's what I think of when I'm thinking of a silo. So, grain silo. That's the visual I have whenever I think about it. Let's keep going. So this is Heisig. So let me just show you that real quick, what he's meaning. If you notice, he's kind of like doing 1, 2. This is a very unusual stroke order compared to what you're used to. So let's start from fresh. Alright, so the way silo works, you're going to do the top part of the silo, and then you're going to build up the middle silo. This is the part that separates out the grain or something that you pour into it. So so I'm sorry, you're going to clump up. Then you're going to do each side of it. So 1, 2, then complete the sides. Then, oh sorry, keep doing this backwards. 1, 2, complete the sides. Now what's happening is that we're probably doing something. Something's happening through it. Like this could be the wheat or the trees or something that's being put into the silo. Alright, so this is normally not on its own. There's something else happening on top of this. 1, 2, 3. Then, alright, so we complete the silo, then we finish it up. So we're going to be very careful with the stroke order. Alright, so let's get back to Isaac. Alright, so that's what he's pointing out there. So you can see the top, middle, do the sides, and the bottom, and then maybe something through the center. So here we have is splendor, droop, which is going to be similar to ride when we get there, drowsy, spindle. Now here we have is ride. Yeah, so this looks like the wheat that's being riding up to the top of the grain silo. So we come over to, remember to here for silo. So imagine this wheat is riding up to the top of the grain silo to be falling down into the bottom. And so it's kind of like a conveyor belt. The wheat being ride on the conveyor belt. Let's draw that real quick, and let me show you the stroke order before I get into that. Alright, so right here we have there. So you're going to do pretty much the drop of the wheat. Alright, do the silo, and the silo is going to be like the branches of the tree, or branches of the tree, or branches of the wheat. Then finish off wheat. So let's draw that. So it's mentioned. So when you hear ride, think of riding the wheat riding on a conveyor belt up to the grain silo. So we're going to do the top part of the wheat. We're going to then do the silo. We're going to do this in parts. I keep fragging it up. Okay, sorry about that. Keep wanting to put that top part. I don't know why. Okay. Okay, we're going to do those 2 strokes. Finish it up, and then we're going to finish up wheat. Alright. Boom, boom, boom. Alright, this is to ride. Nodu, to ride something. Nodu, to ride. Yeah. And just to make sure, I was screwing it up. I think that's why. Let me redo this, or let me do this one more time. Alright, because what's happening here, it looks like he's saying is like this, okay, this line, they're not complete. So that's what's happening, and then something's happening in the middle. So let's do this again. So we're going to do top part of the wheat, let's do the silo, let's do the top and bottom portions of the silo, top, bottom, do the middle, top, finish it off. Now let's finish off the... Alright, that's very ugly, but that's ride, to ride. And there we see it. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Alright. Next kanji. Ride. So ride a conveyor, the wheat rides a conveyor belt up to the grain silo. Just imagine that when you hear the word ride. Alright, now this says now. This is going to look a little different as a stroke. When you're written in it, you're seeing this in the font. Mainly about this little horizontal line is going to look more of like a vertical drop. Now this means ima, like right now, at this time, either today, this week, this month, this year, whatever's happening centered around right now. So one thing is ima, now, the present time, just now, soon, immediately, or kon, the current year, the current day, the current hour. Well, maybe not the current hour, but yeah, current day, current week, current month, current year. Let's see. Kongo, from now on, hereafter. So from now till later. Kongo. Kyo, today. So it's not kon nichi, it's kyo. It is for day. Officially the kon and nichi, but we're not going to do that. Kesa, this morning. Konnen, this year. Konnen. Also katoshi would be another term for it. Sakon, let's see, what do we got? Stop that. Sakon. That's like nowadays or recently. Okay. Kinjo, first word, the reigning emperor. Okay, so there we go. We're going to get to this. So let's go to Heisig. So we got, let's see, ride, surplus. Now we're going to do is now. I'm not sure why he's not writing that. He should be... Well, anyway, let me just show you as a stroke order. That's more important. Alright, well, shoot. I guess we're going to do that as a stroke order. So it's doing umbrella and meeting, and then also the little thing like foo, where you're going to go as 7. Let's see what he's doing. Final stroke is a rare shape. We've met it before. For right now, he's going to refer to it as clock. So meaning at 7. Let's delete this. Alright, so this is kind of what I normally do. So I do the umbrella. So imagine the umbrella is so we want to think of now. So now is 7 o'clock. So now is the time when you break out the umbrella, like 7 o'clock in the morning and 7 o'clock in the evening when you put the umbrella away. Maybe it's because it's your sun umbrella. And sometimes what they'll say is for this is going to be sundial. So there's so there's the 7. We're going to do the, usually I see it as a, not necessarily flat, I see it more of as a drop, but maybe I'm wrong. And then this is, it kind of looks like the hu from katakana. So kind of like that. It's not used too often. Or also it could be like the ma, the ma mark there, because sometimes you also hear like no, ma. So it could be that. It could be like the, look at it as considered the arm of ma, without the without finishing it off. So it's like the first stroke of ma, if you need to. But some people say it looks like 7. So if you want to, just think of it as the 7 mark. So anyway, this could be altogether could be a good one is doing sundial, like because it tells you the time is now. You know, just hold the sundial out and whatnot. Okay, so here now, think sundial, so think of the sundial. If you don't want to know what the time is now, you know, cover the sundial with an umbrella and no one knows what time it is now. Yeah, sundial, now. Next kanji. Alright, so here we have ma again, we're bringing that back, and this is called beforehand. The reason is, we've seen this before, they're going to say halberd, but this is going to be, anyway, beforehand. Previously, and this, maybe myself and I, yeah, okay, but, so here we have is yo. Over, more than, formal, oratory, first person pronoun. It's very, I don't know, I don't hear it too often. Yote, plans, arrangement, schedule. So it's like something you arrange beforehand. Program, expectation. Let's say yobi, preparations, preliminaries, reserve. Yo, first entry, postponement, deferment, extension. Don't see anything else. Okay. So here's the story. This is what I think. This is my story. As others see it, think beforehand with forehand, which easily reminds you of a tennis racket if you're used as a primitive later in kanji. So beforehand, think of forehand, beforehand, forehand. Something you take care of beforehand. Something taken care of previously. So beforehand, you make sure you have your racket beforehand and forehand. You know, practice with your tennis racket. Practice both your forehand and your beforehand. So the visuals of the tennis racket. Way it is actually halberd. We haven't taught halberd, but let's go with the Isaac first before I get into this. Okay. So here we have is now, which he's saying clock. I'm going to think it's sundial for right now. Include, versify, wish, shade. Now we have his forehand. Very similar to halberd, which is the final stroke is omitted. I like to think of tennis racket, but let's show you the strokes. Okay, so first thing is going to be is the ma katakana. All right, so you got the ma. Then we're going to do the laying down. Like if you think of Lilo and Stitch, it's the laying down with the little hook. So similar to like when we did yawn. Yes, that second stroke. So doing second stroke. So there's the ma. There's the little. So let's say that's the hand. That's the halberd of the. This is the ma is the head of the tennis racket. The halberd of the forehand, the beforehand tennis racket instead of the forehand tennis racket. The beforehand. This is the head of it, and then this is the handle guard of it, and then finally we need to write the handle. All right. That's the beforehand. So let's see. So there you can see it, right? There's the ma, there's the lay down hook, and then the final stroke is the hooked stick. And again, think of tennis racket. We see this in other kanji beforehand. Tell you what, let's just draw it one more time, just for fun. So there's big, a little big, there, come back, yeah, there it is, and then yep, beforehand. Yo. Yo. Okay, next kanji. So now we have his planes, because this is in my, this is no, yeah, this is in my wife's name, that's why kind of, and this is also some other, used it in quite a few names. So this is plains. It could be field, rustic, civil life. This is if you ever heard of somebody yell yaro, which is really just means field child, or really just bastard, you know, abandoned child. Basically, this is it. So out in the plains, out in the wood, deep woods, or in the the backwoods type thing. That means rustic, field, not city life. The opposite of city life, if it helps. So plains. Some things. Let's see. Meh, plain, field, hidden. No or ya, plain, field, hidden again. Wild, lacking a political post. So here we have is yagai, fields, outskirts, open air, suburbs. Yase, wildness, plants or animal. Uncouth, rough or unpolished. Yeah. Then we have bunya. Now in this case, it's saying it's a field, sphere, realm, or division. But yeah, you'll see it in quite a few things. Yaneko, yainu, or I think you hear that like a wild cat or wild dogs. So here we say is like my story was here. I think of plains, the Great Plains of Omaha, which is like I think it's Nebraska or something. But anyway, if you ever gone into the center of the United States, it's really flat. There's no hills or anything, so you can just see for miles. There's like usually it's farmlands for plains everywhere. But what was happening is in roundabout Omaha in the plains, so it was mainly just. Now you see is fields, but beforehand were only the plains. So beforehand, so you think of the plains. Beforehand there were only fields in Omaha. Now there's computers, so they got the computers in the beforehand. So on the plains of Omaha is a bunch of computers, whereas beforehand it was only plains. And again, the reason why you put all the, you put a lot of the servers or something in the center of the United States, because that means that's the easiest way to, again, centralize the transmission of data for the internet backbone. Okay. Don't know if that's still true, and I could be lying anyway. So here we have beforehand, preface, deposit, plains. Yeah. So we'll keep it for right here. So think of plains. Think of what's exactly missing from the plains is computers. So we'll do the sun, or the, let's see, what was computers, and make sure I'm not lying. Just remember, yeah, I thought it was like that. Do the armor first, the armor coating of the. Oh, wrong one. So sun out comes armor. And since it's been a while, okay. So now we got the computer. So that's in the plains of Omaha are just a bunch of computers. Beforehand there was, whereas beforehand there was nothing. So let's do the beforehand. So there's the computers. So beforehand, or so in the plains of Omaha. Now there's, so this is referring to the actual. All right. And so yeah, I'm not using the tennis racket primitive. I'm using the actual beforehand concept, or beforehand for plains. So computers in the plains of Omaha are computers. Beforehand there were no computers at all. It was just plains. It was just plain plains. Next kanji. I think it's yeah, two more to go through this. So here's west. This is a direction. So I think we've learned north. We've learned east. Now we're learning west. I don't think we've learned south yet, which is kind of odd. Okay, so this is west. It could also be in reference to Spain. So Nishi, west. Seireki, Christian era, or Anno Domini, AD. So the Seireki calendar. Seibu, the west, western part, the west. Hokusei, northwest. Nishikoku, not sure. Let's see. Zaikoku, probably would have been Zaikoku. Tozai, east and west. Tozai, east and west, the whole country. Tozai, east and west, whole country. All right. So what we say, wicked witch of the west, anyone. All right. So here you see is the ceiling of the collapsed house with the two human legs sticking out of the remains of the mouth of the door. So, again, I was viewing a lot of Wizard of Oz stories sometimes. So yeah, let's go with Heisig real quick. So we're gonna do these two here. Okay, so we got planes, concurrently, dislike, sickle, self-effacing or self-efficacy or effacing, bargain. So here we have is west, and then we're going to talk about the little symbol for Old West. Value. Alright. So let's delete this. Alright, so Wicked Witch of the West. So again, we got the little flat part, could be the flat part of the roof that fall down in the west. Wicked Witch of the West. We got to have like the mouth of the, there's the mouth representing the door, maybe the that you can still make, or that you can still make out. And you got the two legs that have to be sticking out from under the house, and then finally finish off. So don't confuse this. This is going to look very similar. I think we've mentioned it before. We're going to have the number 4. Kind of looks similar, and also for what they call sign of the bird, but you know, usually sake or whiskey bottle. So 3 distinct kanji or primitives that are used in kanji. Alright, so that is west. So we think of west, think Wicked Witch. Now what you're also going to see, and this is coming up with the next kanji, if you see it as a primitive, you're going to, let's go and draw it out. So the first part is going to be similar, but the legs, instead of the legs, we're going to think of the Old West. When you think of the Old West, we're going to do 2 verticals. So this could be like the jail cell in the Old West, because they like to put that in the Old West movies, putting the bad guys behind bars. So that could be so in the Old West, you can let that represent like the jail cell or the sheriff's office of the Old West. Boom. So boom, 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 boom. Okay. Or if you want to, you can call them cowboy boots, or there's the Stetson hat, and there's whatever. There's the saddlebag. Whatever you want to do to visualize this as being the Old West, go for it. But the 2 vertical strokes. And that's what he's mentioning right about here. Alright. Last kanji for this lesson. What are we at right now? We were at 14. We're approaching the hour mark, so we're doing pretty good. So this is value. Now this could be value or price. We already have one for price. Tell you what, let's kakaku. Let's do our little magic again. Here. Come on. Okay. Not something. Alright, so we do here and that. Come on. Alright, there we go. Not kakaku. Come on. Alright. Nope. I'm forgetting the right. Let's see. Kakaku. Is it yoka? Value. I'm thinking price and value. Completely, well, we're going to do it the hard way. Okay. Come here. Alright, so we want to do you. Probably kachi. I think that's kachi. G, yeah, kachi. Thought so. Alright, we'll do that. Alright. And let's try it that way. Kachi. There we are. Alright, so we want to look for that one. Stop that. Ooh. Yeah, okay, so it looks like I already did it for, did that for, okay, so kachi, so don't confuse the two. We got price and value. Kachi, I think it's the word. Okay, good. Price and value. Alright, so this is value, and price right now. And let's see, so we have is a tie. Actually, you see all, you know, oh wow, you kind of see the, right, so price, cost, or value, worth, merit, variable. Here we have is kachi, value, worth, or merit. Okay. Kakaku, price or value. Yoka, Now this is evaluation, estimation, assessment. Your evaluation, your how you were at the company. Yeah. Okay, so the value of the cheap costuming equipment. Batman in the Old West was called Zorro, who didn't spend millions on gear. Okay. The value of Batman in the Old West is he was a yeah, okay, dollar store value. Okay, so that yeah, that's Zorro is the Batman in the Old West. So okay, that's how I kind of think of value. Okay, let's see. What does Heisig have to say? So it's person in Old West. So Batman in Old West. Batman in Western outfit is Zorro. So that's the value. All right. So when you hear of value, think of value. Batman's outfits in the Old West were lower value because he dressed like Zorro. So we'll do okay. Yeah. All right. And that's value. Value. Yeah. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. All right, that should be the last one. Let's see. We were at okay. We were just at 1 hour of the lesson. So that's not too bad. Had a couple of interruptions, but for the most part, that is good. Yeah, and it feels like these last lessons are going to be a bit more. These last few sets of lessons are going to get a little bit more complicated because I have to go there. It feels like some of these concepts are abstract and they're not related to previous ones. Like you introduce a radical and then again this is like a primitive or a radical that's used like once or twice and that's it. And or I'm having to refer back to something that was introduced like early on in the book, but it was on a kanji that was skipped over, so I didn't bother learning or explaining that primitive at this point. And it's going to happen. But it's doable. I think this is working fine. Yeah. Alright, so we'll finish that. Okay, so we got lesson 31, so now we're at lesson 32. Let's look at something. Let's look at what lesson 32 has to offer. Alright, so there's value. Alright, so now we like need, ballot, there. Okay, so we're seeing this pop up. Oh, and now we learned cell, so that's going to be good. Then we learn gate. Gate's going to be fun, so that's going to cover about a number of entries. Then right here, roughly, it's the next negative or opposite of something. Let's see, we're going to learn this, which is, we'll revisit the number 5 when we get to here. Okay. Looks good. Then we'll be getting to here. It's not too bad. Alright. Let's, alright, and Heisig's where we're at, 1603. Alright, we're good. Alright, let me just do a quick refresh, see what, anything new popped up. I'm not seeing anything there, so no big deal. Let's see what Shitsumonde has to do. Let's do a refresh on there. And I'll do a refresh on, okay, so what we got? Trying to find good dictionary, Japanese dictionary app. What are the names of Japanese language? Anybody? Yeah. Nothing stands out there. What do we have here? Yeah, come here. Come on. Let's see if you're interested. I wonder what happened here. They still. Guess somebody had a question he didn't. He had answered and deleted it. General greetings. What we got here? True, but then there's a bit more to learn when it comes to stroke order for everything. Not quite sure. True, but there's a bit more to learn when it comes to stroke order for huh? I'm not sure. You may not realize that I'm going into like very detail about when it comes to stroke order. That's okay. That's all good. It's all gravy. Yeah. Delete you. Alright, nothing new, nothing new, nothing new. And let's look at Discord real quick. Let's see. It looks like some people were talking. They were. Yeah, okay. Yep, and that's Discord, being Discord. Alright. Anything? Probably nothing new here. Almost nothing there. Whew, alright. Probably feels like maybe I should take a break or whatnot, but nah, let me just go into the lessons and finish this up, and then again I'll try to use the remaining time to finish up my reviews. Man, coffee does taste good. Oh, okay. Man, it's approaching 4 o'clock here as well. Let's do it. Alright, so right now we're at 1 hour, we'll say 21 minutes and 0 seconds. It's still the 13th. Let us begin. And welcome back. This is Nuke Marine presenting the Suggested Guide for Japanese Literacy course series on Memorize. Currently we are on course 3, Remembering the Kanji Optimized, part 1, which is the 555 kanji from book 1 of 2001 Kanji Odyssey series, and presenting those kanji in the Remembering the Kanji order. We are now on lesson 32, so it's been 31 hours. By the time this is done, you should be up to 480 kanji that you know how to write and recognize from memory. If given an write from memory, if given an English keyword, and recognize it if you see it, at least in your English native language of English. Start the preview. As always, we're going keyword. Keyword gives a basic meaning to this kanji of what it can mean on how the Japanese use it. Keyword is also to help you think of a story that contains the parts of the kanji, help you put it together to write it from memory. We'll be presenting other meanings of this kanji, that it might have, or flavors, if you will, and then Japanese words that use this kanji. And again, the purpose of it is not to memorize the vocabulary at this point. That will be happening later. Even if I go into detail, a bit more detail onto what words we're covering right now. But don't worry, there will be vocabulary. There will be vocabulary in grammar course at OVT. You'll be learning plenty of vocabulary when the time comes, and also with the vocabulary you'll be learning by proxy. Maybe that's the wrong term, but at the same time you'll be learning pronunciation of the individual kanjis, just because you see how it's used in multiple words. Alright, next. Alright, so right now, first word we're going to be introducing. Make sure this is in the right order. So we got the... Okay, so yeah, so 1604 is need. Going from 603. Alright, so this is called need, which is to either desire something, key to, have requirement of, so that type of need. Main point, essence, pivot, key to. In fact, let's see, iru, it's not pivotal or vital point to it. It means without it, it's no good. Iru means to need or want. Here we have is yoten, the main point, or the gist of something. Yochui, attention required, special needs, need special attention. Yochui. So chui just means warning. So yochui is okay, requires special attention. Juyo, important, momentous, essential. Juyona, okay. So a story that has it. So you kind of see looking at the kanji. It's West, Old West, and you have woman. So after the Old West settlers achieved basic survival mode, women soon become the dominant need. In fact, the Old West settlers, you could say, was settled in part by women. Importance of the domestic side of things, or the city life. Because again, before you just had the farmers and the miners and whatnot, and then of course you had women come in to become the store teachers, sometimes running saloons or whatnot, and doing the business sides of things. And that happened. There were different needs, but anyway. So Old West needs. So here, think the Old West needs women in order to become become civilized or settled. All right, next, let's look at this. So here you have, we do Old West, boom, 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 one, mouth, finish off, close off the mouth. All right, and then we did woman, kuno ichi, nothing complicated there. Let's see, 1604, Old West woman, there we go. We'll keep it to here because we still got Old West happening. So again, we hear need. Think about the need of women in the Old West. So we'll do it in these parts here. So it's also doing one in crown because it's squeezed. Finish this off, and then do it 2 parts, 3 parts. All right, there we go. Then finally finish it off with woman. So the Old West and need of women. So ku no ichi. All right, need. Next kanji. That's fairly. All right, now we have is ballot. So we're gonna have to bring up a new thing. So this is a ballot, a label, ticket, sign. Let's see, right here is yo, a label or ballot or a ticket. Yo ketsu, second word, a vote or a ballot. So we're as soon as it's going to come to ballot box or a signpost. Do-yo, to-yo, voting or a poll. And denpyo, chit, sales slip, voucher. Alright, so if you look at the kanji, you're seeing is like you got Old West, so you think of ballot, so ballot cast the Old West. Now you have his show altar. Show altar, I'm thinking, is Raiders of the Lost Ark, the Ark of the Raiders of the Ark. So it's not too easy. It's kind of simple to think of, like it's showing here. The church was the center of the. So in the Old West, the church was the center of the communities. During elections, that show altar, or maybe the. So there you see in the church inside is the Raiders of the Lost Ark show altar there, and then that's where they go to cast their ballots in. This shows here to post the ballots or to cast one's ballots. Easy enough. Let's see. Let's have need, loins, ballot. Here he doesn't offer any stories, so that's all good. Let's bring this up. So again, we're going to be. Let's just start up here real quick. I'm just going to do it in parts. Here's this bring up ballot again, or doing Old West. So I'm just doing Old West by itself. All right. So that's the parts for the Old West. Now we're going to do is ballot. So we're going to do the Old West. Right, then we want to do the show altar or the ark. I call it Raiders of the Lost Ark type. So do the 2 strokes for the ark. So do Old West. And this is for ballot. Old West, and then do the little. So there's a little, or a stage or something if you need to. But yeah, that's the ark or show place or show altar. Next kanji, signpost. Now, if you're in the Old West, and this is going to be easy. So anyway, first thing, let's just say signpost, a seal, a mark, a stamp, an imprint. So I guess a little bit different than the, the little ma-yo, little trademark, evidence, souvenir. So quite a few different meanings. Let's see, what do we have? We have shirushi, a mark, a symbol, or evidence. Yojun, standard, level, norm. Alrighty. Yoji, posting up, declaration, demonstration. Yohon, example, specimen, or sample. Finally is mokiyo, a mark, or an objective, or a target. Kind of like mokiobi, or mokiteki, but mokiyo. Okay. So we have tree, Old West, and so we have tree and also ballot. So tree, Old West, and the ark. So trees were frequently used as signposts in those days, indicating where one had to go to cast their ballot. So trees were signposts were frequently just trees, because again they didn't want to, because there was the easiest thing to do it in the Old West, where especially when you had to mark like where the direction to go for going to cast your ballot, because again, not everyone lived in town. They had to go and travel to towns. You had to know where to go. So put the signs up to say, hey, the ballot is this way, or voting elections this way. So trees, Old West, and show altar, tree, and ballot box. Let's see. So we have ballot, we have drift, water and ballot. Signpost is what we want, tree and ballot. Let's so right here. So again, we hear ballot. Think of this. Now we're doing signpost. Think of signpost. Think of tree, which is the easiest thing to make is a signpost. Just put something on there. So a tree, and then telling about the Old West election. So let's do the Old West here, and the direction of the ballot box in the Old West. Ballot box in the Old West. Let's do there. All right, and this is signpost. 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 Tree used as signpost point in the Old West, the direction of the ballot. All right, now we have is smoke. Now, yeah, so this is really just smoke from a fire, and this is also used in the word for smoking, kitsuen. So let's see. First thing we have is kemu or kemuri, smoke or fumes. Let's see. We have ento. For second word there, ento. Chimney, a smokestack, a funnel from a ship, the stovepipe. Alrighty. Let's see. Kemuri kiri. Should be stop smoking. Let's see. Kitsu-en. Kitsu-en is smoking. So kitsu-en kenshi would be no smoking, or kitsu kin. En-kin. Probably en-kin, like no smoking. Okay, but anyway, consume smoke. Kitsu-en, smoking. The act of smoking. Okay, so here we go. So we have drift, signpost. We've got chestnut, transition, capsize. Here we have is smoke. Hearth, or in this case, they're saying hearth, Old West, and ground. Okay. Alright, so I guess he was using this. I haven't done it in a long time, but when I was teaching this part for fire, I guess what he's saying, so he had right here campfire, so here could be hearth, which is like the think of a big house, and at the center of the house is the the fire, or the cooking stove, or the cooking pit. And that would be the hearth. It'd also be, and that's where again home and hearth. That just means in the warm fire that you bring, all the guests can come in, and it's a very protected place, because that's where cooking can happen. That's where you stayed warm. That's where you could live. So that's if you want to use that. I just still use fire because it's no big deal. That's just fire on the left side. All right. So what are we doing? So we're trying to do smoking. So here's the story. It said right here, in the Old West, they used to light fires. Boom. So fires in the so smoking. So think of smoking, think of smoke signals. Smoke signals come from using a fire, and then in the Old West, think of again, the Indians were communicating with smoke signals. So cover the fire up with a blanket, release it up, comes up a little smoke, and so again, so it's like from fire that's placed on the ground to help people to see across great distance, smoke signals. God, that's a bad explanation, but there you go. Hearth, Old West, ground. Let's draw it out. Alright, so you think of smoke. So think of smoke signals from the fire. So we'll do fire in two parts. Okay. And smoke signals in the fire, you always think of this, always an Old West story, so let's do the West part. Alright. And you can say the Old West because you can say, well, where is the campfire? You can say, the fire was because of that, and mixing with the smoke was mixed and the dirt could just represent the dust of the Old West. So, again, the dirt is the distances, or the areas of the two different areas where the smoke signals were coming up. That could be like the mounds of earth, because you need to be at a little higher position so you can see smoke. Everybody can see the smoke signals not being blocked by trees or mountains or whatnot. So you need to be put up on a lot more earth. Smoke signals. Alright. I think next kanji. Alright, now we're moving on. South. This is a direction, south. The direction opposite of north. North, south, east, west. Minami. South. Yeah, south. Minami. Nanboku. South and north. Nanboku. Let's see, also we got is Nantan, southern tip. Shinan, instruction, teaching, pointing south. Finally is Namu, Amen, or a hail. I didn't know that. Okay. So south of the belt leads to happiness. So what it's going to do is like it's like the kanji for happiness, or you think, or this the primitive for happiness, but we're using a belt. I guess it's kind of a. All right. So belt and happiness. Now note how belt runs through the middle of happiness. So let's draw this. Okay. So we kind of seen what somehow this is. We've been using this a lot, and it's up to you to decide what type of thing. This could be like some type of container. I mean, we had a little tip to the top, it becomes stand. We had a little thing above it, it becomes something else. You know, we had a little this and that, it becomes whatever, or use this and becomes a tree. So it's up to you if you want to use, use different visuals or names to kind of help distinguish what's happening here. But what we're doing right now is we're doing this. We're using the belt, and then we're putting something in there. Now, what else it could be is like it looks like. So it could be happiness. So think of like the belt of happiness. Basically it's like if you're you ever seen the if the kids are misbehaving, dad takes off the belt. But if the dad's not are happy and not when he keeps on the belt. So you could be doing that. Like parents are happy, kids are happy as long as daddy's not having to take off the belt to go and discipline the kids and whatnot. So we're going to do happiness and belt. So we're doing the first part of happy. So do the happy, and then we're going to do the belt. Happy and belt. Then we're going to do the last part, happy, which could be the horns. And then, and then finish it off. Some other things if you want to think of this as being a baby ram or baby sheep, you can do that. Lamb. I think that could be lamb, sure, because it only has two strokes as opposed to 3 strokes for sheep. That could work, a lamb. So there's the 10 and the belt. So maybe think of something like needles and little belts. So maybe the lamb's happy when you were able to pull the needles out of the belt before putting it on there. Whatever you want to do. You can think of the stories, but yeah, 10 belt and little baby sheep could work. However you want to work. Or in this case, so it's like happiness and belt with the belt of happiness. So think of south. Alright, so south, so let's see, belt of happiness, south. So I think it's like the southern hemisphere or southern belt. Could be, people up north, they're more industrialized, so they're not as happy as people down south where, again, happiness can be just simple as holding a baby lamb or, having a belt to keep around yourself. Or another word, or vulgarly, as the story says here, south of the belt leads to happiness. So south, down south could be referring to going down toward the, the crotch area of the body, and that's where everyone's happy when those parts touch. All right, however you want to do it. So below the belt. So happiness below the belt. So south of the belt. There's probably better stories than this. What are we doing? So we're south. Let's go to gates. Let's go to the next story. Alright, so this is very visually, this looks like a set of gates, and we're going to be doing a few kanji with this, so this is going to be a little easier. So this is a pictograph. So this is gates. Come here. Kado. Gate, a branch of learning, counter for cannons, but yeah. Monko, door. Okay, mon, gate or branch. Okay, we already covered that. Monkase, pupil, disciple, or follower. Monka, one's pupil or student. Senmon, a specialty. Your subject of study, your expertise in college. Notice there should be, and also senmon for the third word, soft spot. Alright, so this is gate. So this is to look at Isaac real quick, and then we'll cover it, because this is very simple, pretty simple. So we got south, camphor tree, offering. So there we have is gates, and as a primitive, Probably like swinging gates of a door. Okay. So, huh. Okay, so we're going to do it like flag. Alright, let me delete this. Control delete. Alright. So let's look at gates. So you can kind of see, he's doing a little, yeah, this is the way I'm remembering to do his stroke. For some reason, Heisig's showing it as differently. That's odd. Let's look. Search Google. Stroke order. Make sure I'm not teaching you wrong. Alright. So yeah, these are showing, yeah, the long stroke's done first. So that's where Heisig is sort of messing up here. Alright, we'll go with that. In fact, it feels natural anyway. Okay, so for gate, so it's pretty much going to be, so think of this as being the bar, so think of swinging gate. So you hear gates, think of swinging gates. So there's the bar the gate's going to swing on. And I'm going to do this in parts. So it's kind of like doing some with a longer first stroke. So that's the left side of the gate. Now we want to do the right side of the gate. Okay. Oh, sorry about that. Right, now we're doing the right side. So that's the right side. The bar the other gate's going to be swinging on, and that's, yeah. So this is not too difficult, right there. And we'll just do it just for completionist sake. Alright, there we go. So this is gates. And what's going to happen with gates is, you know, stuff's going to happen inside of it in other kanji. But for right now, this is, so imagine you can just visualize these are like the swinging doors of a saloon if you need to. That's how I usually visualize the swinging doors of saloons, swinging gates. Sometimes it might be a big wrought iron gate of a house, like a big gate to a driveway of a rich, you know, rather rich house or mansion. I can also visualize that as well. But yeah, those two types of gates. Next kanji. So now we have a gate and a mouth, so it's question. So this means to question something, ask, or maybe a problem of something. So there is toi, and what you doing there, man? Oh, what was I supposed to do? What was it supposed to be, B? Or the I? No. 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 Okay. What did I do wrong? Alright, well, I did it again. I accidentally did it again. So let's go to options. And what is that one in? It is D. Huh, okay. D. Okay. Oh, and let me save. Okay, so there we go. Question. So it's toi, query or question, and mon, counter for questions. So toi to. Mondai, problem or a question. Mondo, questions and answers, dialogue. Homon, call or visit to someone. Also a second word, gun port, embrasure or muzzle. No, ignore that second word. No, that's a different mon. Okay. Monto, okay, and mondai. Alright, good. So here you have a mouth at the gates asks the questions, can I come in? So that should be pretty, so we got gate, we got mouth questions, like, hey, can I come in? Or maybe the mouth at the speakeasy, what's the secret password? Or what's the secret, you know, some type of question at the gates. So there are gates and mouth question, nothing complicated there, let's draw it. Okay, so remember it's, do the first stroke, we'll just do it in parts. There's the finish stroke. And there. Okay, and then finally, there's the gates, and there's the little mouth at the gates asking the question, can I come in? Can I come in? Alright, question. So we got gates, we got question. Next kanji. Interval. Now here we have sun passing gate. So this is kind of easy in that I'm thinking of the wrought iron gate, and then the sun's passing over the gate. You see that through the gate, you see the sun is hitting the intervals of the through the intervals. But anyway, this is interval or space in between something. So this means like right here it says aida, the space between, gap, interval, distance, time, pause, break, during the time of aida. Also, what do we have? Ma, space, room, time, pause. This is kan, interval or period of time. So you hear that like jikan, jikan wa nai, there was no time. Ken, counter use for ken. So let's see, we have is kankaku, second word, space interval, SBC. Here we have is chukan, middle, midway, interim. There's also chukan for the second word, daytime, during the day. Jikan, first word, is time or hours. Second one is like the jikan, in this case is the space between, in the second word, the space between the letters, the white space if need be. We have is seken, world or society. Ningen, seken gen. Now this is human being or humanity, or a person, character of a person. Ningen. What else we got? Jinkan, the world. Haven't heard that before, but okay. Yeah, I've heard ningen. Alright, so anyway, interval. So this is different from question. This is interval, and it's visualized. There's a gate, and there's a sun passing in front of the gate, and you see, I only see the gate, I only see a sun through the intervals or the space between the bars. And this is like space between the clouds or whatnot. Aida, in between, in the midst of. Alright, so here we have question, review, click, interval, time and space. So it's intervals in time and space. Here we go. So when you think of interval, think of so we're going to do the gates. There's the gates, and now we want the sun that's been passing through the interval of the gates. Maybe use that to help mark time. Alright, so now we got gates, question, and interval. Next kanji. Simplicity. So we already got interval, and we're going to have bamboo. So we kind of use bamboo for nodes. Now we're going to use it for simplicity. Simple, simplicity. And let me do a quick thing, because there's also one other thing for simple. So I don't want to confuse the two. Okay, yeah, kantan. Not kantan. Okay. And tell you what, I'll do this. Okay. There we go. Okay, go back one real quick, do a refresh, make sure it's saved. Okay, good. Alright, so that's good. Alright, so that's simplicity. So this is simplicity or brevity, as it states. So let's see, brevity, simplicity. Yeah. Kantan, second word, simple. Let's see, kantan for the third word, also simple. That's not as common. Kan-i, first word, simplicity, convenience, easiness. Easiness. Shokan. Kani? Shokan. Fourth word. Letter, note, episode, correspondence. Okay. Okay, so here we have bamboo, gates, and sun. Simplicity. So here, a stick of a bamboo is simple. It's split into intervals, which define a very simple unit of measurement. So simplicity. Simplicity is simple. So a simple way of measuring something is take a bamboo, split among its intervals of its nodes, and then that becomes a very simple way of measuring something. Or the simplicity of making gates out of bamboo, and again, because you can do that in a day's time. So if you use bamboo to build your gates, you can build gates of your wall, then that's a simple way in a day's time. You can, if you want to do that story as well, that works. Let's bring up Heisig. So we got simplicity, we got bamboo and interval. Okay, nothing complicated there. Let's work with it. All right, so simplicity. Think of the simplicity of building with bamboo. So we'll do the bamboo. We'll do it in that 2-stroke, sure. Because think of the simplicity of building bamboo, especially the gates of your, let's see, Kanji palace. If you need to think of, so do gates in 2 strokes. Because you can finish building your gates in a single day. That's really ugly, but okay. So yeah, that's simplicity. 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 Next kanji. Now we have is open. Now here we have is gates in 2 hands, so 2 hands open the gate. That's going to be really simple. So anyway, this is to open, to unfold, to unseal. Now this could be to open like a door, open like your book, open a window, open. So we've got 2 different types. So they have aku or akeru. So aku is to open like a door or window. Hiraku, I feel like that's a book, like hirakeru, or yeah, so open up your book. Hiraku, I believe so. I don't want to take that as a definite, but okay, it's neither here nor there. So now we have is a word like kaishi, to start, commencement, the beginning of something. Next word, kaitaku. The reclamation of wasteland, cultivation, pioneering. Oh, so opening up of something, the clearing away. Okay. Tenkai, development, the expansion. Alright, so here we have. So we have gates, and what inside is like 2 hands. So 2 hands, it's very easy visual. There's the doors of saloon, there's the 2 hands pushing open the doors of saloon. Alright, open. 2 hands thrust open the gates of the bar room or saloon. Yeah, right here. Gates, 2 hands, nothing complicated. We'll keep this up and we'll bring it up again. Okay, so we want the gates. There's the gates, or the swinging doors of the bar room or the saloon. All right, and then we want the 2 hands. So what are we going to do? 2 hands. I'm sorry, 2 hands. There's the 2 hands. And again, here's the stroke order, just so if you're not really quite confident. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then the umbrella stand, boom, peg leg, and straight. All right, so we got there. Now let's go to next kanji. We got things go fast when you only have a primitive. You got a primitive that's used a number of times. That just makes life a lot easier. But you also got to be careful then that you make sure the stories are much more visual, especially if you're using the same primitive, to keep them distinct and separate. So this is where visuals help to come into play. Now we have is closed. Now this could be closed or shut. So like shimeru is to shut the door, and tojiru is to close the book. So close, shut. Here we have is heiten, closing a shop. So probably like kaiten is opening a shop. Heiko, third word, heiko, dumbfounded, stumped, at wit's end. And mippe, airtight. So yeah, so it's completely sealed. Okay, it's nice. So here we have is gate and then genius. So closed, the gates are closed, but a genius rod is a close sign on the gate will mean don't open. Okay, now here it says is genius. Yeah, and what did we use for Einstein? So you could say it's like the way I was thinking, like for some reason the doors of 7-Eleven are, 7-Eleven's open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and but for some reason, I think they said before they used to close the doors and lock it, and then a genius said, hey, genius or Einstein said, hey, don't close your gates, and you're open for business 24/7. Before they wanted to close at 7, but the genius says, hey, just don't close it, or just close the doors, but keep it unlocked or something. So close the doors, but don't lock it. Or a genius could say, hey, here's a gate. The genius says, hey, make sure that your gate's able to close at a right time. Otherwise, there's no point to them. Otherwise, they're not really a gate anymore. It's just a fancy door. Let's go to Heisig. There we go. Yeah, closed in genie or genius. I don't like genie. Alright, let's So let's go here. So again, these are all falling under, we're just going to do, let me just go here. Alright, so that's gate. So now what we want to do is close. Alright, then we're going to do is genius. Alright, so let's do it one more time. Alright, so what are we doing? So this is the genius saying, hey, make sure to close your gates at the end of the day, otherwise people will think you're open. So to close your, the genius says, hey, close your gates at the end of the day. Or, you know, you could say, it's like if you've seen Clerks, you know, there's Randall, or I've got Dante like put the little sign out up front and saying, hey, the gates are closed, but we're open. You know, you could be that. Or it's like, hey, I can most assure, the gates are closed, you put a sign, yes, I assure you we're closed. You know, there's a sign on front. The genius says, you know, you need to put the closed sign there as well. If people don't believe you, they'll keep trying to open the gate if they didn't have the sign on front that said closed. All right, that's another way you can do it. That, you know, if you want to take the genius route again. Next kanji. All right. Oh, here we have his ear. This is where we learned newspaper, new, and hear. But this is ear. It could also mean to ask or listen. Now, this is where people kind of get confused. It's like, because in Japanese grammar it says kiku. So it's going to be to listen to something, hear something, kikoeru, able to hear something. And also you're going to ask, so kiku means to ask a question. You'll get to that when you get into grammar. So kiku, kikoeru, so to ask and to listen and to ask, kikoeru, able to listen, able to ask, or able to be kikoeru, audible, able to hear. Here we have a shinbun. Now this sounds weird. It says new here. That's just the Japanese word for newspaper. Fubun, rumor, hearsay, a report. Kenbun, information, observation. Chomon, second word, listening, hearing. Cho and mon. Zentai mimon, zendai mimon. Unheard of, unprecedented, unparalleled in history. And let's see, mimon, having not yet heard. Oh, before you've heard it. Okay. Alright, there you go. Alright, so this is an easy story. So there's the gate, there's the ear. So you can press your ear against the gate to hear what's happening inside. Hear what's going on inside. Very simple story. So there's a gate, there's a little ear. Press up against the gate to hear what's happening. Maybe it's like the, you know, hearing the guards talking inside the house. Maybe it's a spot, or inside the compound. Let's see. So we have closed, tower, leisure. Here, compare the frames, says kanji, to listen. Yeah, okay, yeah, there's a kanji for listen, but we haven't learned that. All right, so here. All right, so we do the first gate, do the gates, do the second gate. Then we want to do the ear. Do the ear. Do this in parts. So I haven't drawn ear in a while. Got the ear. Boom, boom, boom. Alright, then finally. Ear. Alright, so that's the, yeah, ear. And in fact, if you did it like new, so newspaper was going to be, if you remembered new, it was like stand on a tree with your new axe. And then we do newspaper, or here, this is newspaper. Just for fun, That's newspaper. Shinbun, newspaper. Next kanji. In fact, I taught you south and I didn't do all the directions, did I? I tell you what. Did I teach? I already taught south, didn't I? Oh, yeah. I tell you what. We got time. Before I go into this word, let me just show you something real quick. Why here? Because we're probably going to delete this. Let me see. Are we going to delete this? Yeah. Okay. So I'll tell you what, since we already learned it, so we learned north. You probably remember it's this, north. We learned south, which is the happiness, south of the happiness belt. There's the happiness belt. North, south, and we learned east, which is the sun coming up behind the tree in the east. Then we learned west, which is the kind of wicked witch of the old west. Alright, so north, south, east, west. Alright, anyway, directions. And those could be your directions. So let's go. Little kanji for directions. Okay, cool. North, south, east, west direction. Now that's kind of what's happening when you get into vocabularies. You're going to find that a lot of these kanji that are taught separately on how to write for recognition purposes, to recognize how to recognize them from memory or write them from memory, is different than when you want to use these for vocabulary words. These are very similar. Same with numbers. You want to group the numbers. Same with times, like month, day, year, second. You want to group those all together. You know, so maybe have those similar words together. You want to have left, right, up, down, maybe grouped together. Up, down, left, right, center. You maybe have those grouped together. Have the body parts grouped together, like so ear, eye, nose, mouth, neck, or wherever. You know, maybe have those kanjis grouped together. And then by group these kanji, these are very common kanji, but you want to group in that specific order. Then you'll find out when you're sorting vocabulary words and learn vocabulary words by the kanji that's contained inside them. Now you find that these words have similar or associated meanings, so it's easier to learn them as a group. So when you get into the vocabulary portion, this starts making a lot more. All of a sudden, you're starting to see the logic of how we're approaching this. We're teaching kanji separate than how we're teaching vocabulary words, and also we're going to be teaching grammar separate than how we learn vocabulary words. These all kind of build onto each other, but again, there's different ways you want to approach it based on what you're trying to do. All right, next kanji. Sorry. Okay, so here we are with un. Now this is like the negative. Now we already learned a previous negative called, there's one for anti and another for not. So now what you got is un. A mistake, a negative, an injustice, something opposite of it. So here we have is he, fault, error, mistake. Here we have is hinan. The third word, hinan, blame, attack, criticism. Here we have is hijou. So, just like we have zhou, which is usual, now we have hijou, unusual, extraordinary, an emergency. There's also a second word, hijou, inanimate nature, callous, heartless. Zehi, certainly, without fail, right and wrong, pros and cons, zehi. Okay, so this looks like the kanji is saying, this looks like the pictogram of 3 fingers, each wrapped around two prison bars in the movie. Unbelievable way to escape from prison, trying to bend open the bars, and other kind, think prison bars. Here we go. So there we kind of see it, and we will see it in other kanji, but normally to see it by itself. It does appear in other kanji, but those are not as common. Okay, here we go. So that's he. So peg leg, 1, 2, 3. Then the straight leg, or in this case the umbrella stand. Then 1, 2, 3. Let's go with Heisig real quick. See what he's saying on the matter. Okay, so here we have was here, and we got wet, column, fight. And this is go down, I guess, like a storehouse. A warehouse. Genesis. Now we have his un. Maybe we'll run into these. I don't think so. Okay, so here we have his. So let's draw it. Control delete. All right, so this is un, the opposite of. So first thing is remember from jammed in or sekai, or we have that right here. We right here for world. We kind of got. So again, we got this peg leg and straight foot. So I call this the umbrella stand. The umbrella stand, peg leg and straight leg, as opposed to peg leg and club foot, which are human legs. So this could be the umbrella stand, the peg leg and straight leg over the umbrella stand. All right, so we got the umbrella stand. They're making a comeback. First thing is, though, we want the first 3 strokes. You want to do the, as you're seeing here, you want to do the peg leg first of the umbrella stand. All right, so here, uncomfortable being in jail. It's uncomfortable being in jail. So when think of jail, we want to do the peg leg. So maybe that's of the umbrella stand. So it'd make a gel made up of a bunch of umbrella stands, metallic umbrella stands. All right, we want to do 1, 2. We'll do this in actually 1, 2, 1, 2, and then this is kind of technically going up. 1, 2, up, and then the straight leg, peg leg. 1, 2, up, and then the straight leg. 1, 2, up, straight leg. 1, 2. And I tell you what, it's kind of obvious what's going to happen. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. All right, so this is an 8-stroke improvement. So this is the opposite of something. Now, just to bring this up. So again, we already learned 2 others that were kind of like considered opposite. We've got cliff with crotch is like the hippie or whatnot, or anti. Then we had was kind of like the little Batman, the not. So this was the not, or negative. So we have anti, negative, and this is un. So these are kind of like various kanji that, when used in a word, kind of gives it the word an opposite meaning of, you know, the previous word it was created. Next kanji. And way it was, and just make sure. And when you see this in other kanji, you probably won't see it for us, but if you see it in other kanji, it's going to mean jail cell. Because think of 3 fingers wrapped around the bars of prison. And yeah, strike 1, 2, 3, strike 1, 2, 3, easy enough. Next kanji. Now we're going to learn the number 5. Okay, here we have this decide. This is going to call back to something we learned way in the beginning for number 5, but we'll learn these all in parts. So first off, this kanji is talking about decide, to fix, agree upon, to appoint something, kimeru, to make a decision, kimaru, to have something decided for you. That's what's happening here. Let's see, ketsu, decision or a vote. Ketsuretsu, breakdown, rupture. Ketsui, a decision or determination. Keiketsu, settlement, solution, resolution. So decide upon something. Let's go to, here's the story, but let's go. We got to go down real quick and figure it out. So we got haiku, repudiate, sad, guilt, comrade. This is the senpai. This is the high of, anyway. This is the pi of senpai and high of kohai. Front door. All right, now here we have his key. This is what we want to introduce, and guillotine. All right, first thing, let's introduce key. Okay, why are we doing this? All right, first thing I want to do is think of, remember this from way back when. Oh, sorry, let me do that back. I did that backwards. All right, remember this from way back when, and I said, hey, this right here, you're gonna be thinking of as key, but also this could also be key. You're gonna be thinking this is like key, so like the 5 things. All right, so this is right here. We're gonna think of like a big key. It looks like the U. It is the U of the katakana for U. All right, so this is key. So that's what Kaizig's talking about here. Key. And you can use it as a. It is neither than the 3rd and 4th strokes of the kanji for 5, so it's key. And then we're gonna do is guillotine. Let's see, and that's what he's trying to do for locket. We'll worry about that when we get to it. Okay. All right. So we're going to do is just like we're doing U. Done. All right. So that makes that key. All right. Now what we want to do is guillotine. So guillotine is like, imagine instead of a halberd or an axe being used to cut somebody's head, just imagine kanji land, the person's head's being cut off with a big key. So for guillotine, we want to do key, but do the key. Now we want to do the person, and the person's having their head cut off with a giant key. How embarrassing is that? All right, so that's guillotine. That's what's happening here. So that's, yeah, guillotine. Large or sharpened key come down the head of a criminal saint. Yeah, whatever. Decapitating someone. Now we're going to do is decide. Etymology decide here is water. So here's water and guillotine. So decide how you want to die. So here comes the story. You decide. Symbolically washing his hands in water, a revolutionary judge commits members of the row to drowning in water or by the guillotine. Their fate having decided by the So again, you get to decide how you're going to die. You're still going to die, but you got to decide which way. It's either die by drowning or die by having your head cut off. Decide. All right. So let's do that up. So let's do decide. Decide. Do you want to drown by water? So let's do the kanji for water. Or decide. Do you want to drown by the guillotine? So let's do the guillotine, which is car key coming down across the head of a large sharpened car key, coming down across the head of a person. Boom. Cutting the person's head off, or yeah, guillotine. All right. So there we go. Yeah, there we are. Then we're going to learn that for what I call naganata. Tell you what. Alrighty. Next kanji, or okay, so this is the last kanji of the lesson. Now what we're going to have is difference. Difference. So this means difference or prefer. This is trying to think. Yeah, this is chigao, but so you'll hear somebody say chigao, or that's wrong, or it's something else. Difference. Here we have is it's just saying defer. Chigao. Here we have is ihan. So this is a violation, transgression, going against law. Ihan, infringement, breach. Iho, illegal, illegality, invalid. Is there another E? I'm not seeing it. And then we have is soi, difference, discrepancy, variation. So deferring from thought or interaction, defer. Okay, so this looks a little complicated here, but I'm gonna defer to Isaac's stories when it comes to this. But I kind of like calling this what I call the naganaka. Let me see if I can do this. Let's see, naganata. Let's see, naganata. Image. Yeah. All right. So, yeah. So I'm gonna be thinking about this thing here, which is a double-bladed naginata. So kind of like if you thought of Star Wars was a lightsaber, and then how badass it was that Darth Maul comes out and this lightsaber went out one end and then lightsaber went out the other end. He could fight, fighting like that. So double-bladed naginata is what I'm imagining with this kanji that we're about to learn. But yeah, so here we go. So let's go. So we have key, we have marquee, person, key, and dart, climate, guillotine, which we covered. Then we have decide. Then we have cheerful. Now we're coming up to is this primitive. He's calling it a locket. I don't like locket. I'm kind of cheating. I'm gonna say it's kind of like these are kind of like the two blades of a nagan. I don't know why I did it this way. It's just something came to my mind. All right. So we already had the 5 here. So first thing is we want to know the top blade. So let's say that stick out is like a sharpened key. So let's do 5. So we already finished the 5. So we want to do the sharpened key. There's the 5. Now we want to do the mouth. So the mouth could be the center or the staff. That's like the big thing, the center of the double-bladed naginata. So this is the top blade. We got the bottom blade. Now the bottom blade's going to be combined from the what's called the. Make sure I got the stroke order just right. All right. So you can kind of see 7, 8, 9. Kind of like a little bit about how we do. Okay. So we got there. We got to do 7. We're going to do this in parts. Alright, so we got the top part. Got here. Now this is 7, 8. Then we're going to do, again, this was, you've probably seen that. It's, remember we're saying these are for sunglasses or moon glasses. So not sunglasses, but moon glasses. And then if it's by itself, so it's like a monocle, which is, again, it lost one of its lenses, so now it becomes a monocle. And it's kind of interesting, if you see here the way it's written, it's very similar to how we did silo. Kind of like that, but with silo it was like 1, 2, then we finished it off, then 3, then something happened in the middle. So yeah, you start getting a feel for all these. Anyway, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4. One, make that. Let's do it one more time. So there's the car key, or the sharpened car key. All right, and then that's like the sharpened monocle. And I tell you what, let's do it one last time. So we're doing this in parts. All right, all right. And this is now for, you can use the Heisig thing where this is called a locket. You know, again, there's a car key, and there's a locket that contains both your car key, a little, maybe the center, and then also on the other side is your sunglasses or your monocle. So it's like your convenient, your car key and your glasses. So it's a locket to, you know, keep around your neck to contain your car keys. I just, for some reason, I don't know why, I like to use a visual of a double-bladed naginata. Naginata. I'm not seeing a double-bladed anywhere, so there you go. Okay, now let me draw that for you. Okay, so again, what this all came down to difference. So now we have is double-bladed naginata on the road. So think of the difference of the security of a road when it's not guarded by people with naginatas, and they are. So that's the difference, like the difference in safety. Roads are much safer when you have people with double-bladed naginatas protecting the road. That was the story. Picture a road defended by men armed with pole blades. Okay, there you go, pole blades. Make a difference between safe road and road subjects. So instead, if you don't like naginata, pole blades. Double-ended pole blades. So let's do that. So let's do the double-ended pole blades. And first one is the 5-inch blade on one end. All right. There's the center, which can be the center pole. Okay. There's the. Then we want to do the monocle, which is on the bottom part of the pole blade. Maybe it's like the. All right. Then we want to do the road. Okay. And usually, okay. So, anyways, that's it. That's difference. It's a very it's a very long way of getting around just to get to this kanji. But yeah, we skipped over some kanji that would have used it previously. But other than that, yeah. So yeah, so bottom part of 5, it's mouth, it's monocle. What we learned is road. And that's difference. If you want to break it down a little further, something for 5, bottom part of 5, whatever that could be. But yeah, that should be it. How long was this? Alright, so that was a roughly a 50-minute course. And I didn't even notice that there are some people dropped in to watch. So if you've been watching, hey, thank you for watching. That's the end of the actual lesson. So I'll be going from here and just doing my reviews, because let's see, we're 2 hours 20 minutes into the stream, and yeah, I need to go and start finishing up reviews anyway. If there's any questions, you know, feel free to ask and I'll get to it. Let me get my sketch pad out of the way. Shouldn't have to draw anything now. Pull this back closer to me. Alrighty. Oh, looks like we are good to go. Alrighty, so close this off. Let me go and get some of these screens shut down. Yeah, I don't think much else is going to be coming here. Let's see, don't see no questions there. Not seeing any questions here. Let's see, Discord. I'm not seeing any questions either. Alrighty, cool. Still gonna wonder what Kaylee meant by OMG. Maybe it's gonna be, this is like an idiotic type of story. I mean, most people probably want to like something nice and sexy with like bright pictures and you know, can distract you while you're trying to learn, which makes sense. That could be fun. Like, imagine if I went through all this I did, this 35 hours of material. Now, that was just me for doing these. Let's see, nothing here. Alright, so for teaching this course, I had to basically 35 hours of material, just me at the computer, talking and drawing. Alright. Now imagine if I want to go through with like Adobe After Effects or some type of studio editing software. First off, learn how to use that, which I don't know how to use, even though this would be a good process. And then start bringing in animations. Like, instead of saying a primitive name like Batman or Superman and then drawing the kanji or primitive for it, I actually show you a picture of Batman, and right beside him is the primitive for it. And then there's Superman, there's the primitive that represents Superman. or grain silo or whatever the hell else it is. Fuck yeah, that would be pretty impressive. That would be very effective. The visuals would be there. It gets it in your mind much better. It's just the time involved is going to be extreme. So you have to then multiply whatever I've done now and multiply that. Now it can be really impressive for the first, let's say, take this part here, and this is something somebody else can do. I mean, there's nothing saying I have to be the one to do it, because I'm not a professional at this. I'm doing this for whatever reason. So, but imagine if you just take these here, which are the Hazig primitives, right? And then create a cartoon image that represents that primitive, and then kind of have those on standby, so you can always draw in from those. So you already have the primitives there. Now all you got to do is, when I'm doing the story, just imagine actually take the primitive for Batman, or take the picture of Batman, take the picture of Elbow, whatever is representing Elbow for you, and keep going. Whatever these are supposed to be. There's nothing complicated here. I'm just currently using words to describe the visuals, but it's more complicated, but it can be done to, again, take this video I did. If you don't want to make your own, start from scratch, just take the video I've made, cut out the 40 minutes or the 50 minutes of me talking, and then overlay that with graphics depicting whatever the hell I'm talking about. And that's up to you if you want to do it in that manner. You could probably cover a lot more material faster as well, because I can just present it as a PowerPoint or something. It just, again, this takes time. However you're going to dedicate that time is up to you. Alrighty, that's it. Let's see. We are 1:21 and 17. Let's go for it. Here we go. I'm just doing my reviews now, so if you want to talk, go for it. So this is gender neutral. 忙しいの？今は忙しいの？
今は忙しいの？
Okay. Alright, I'm gonna exit out of there. Sounds a little too loud. There we go. Put it down to 50 or something. Alrighty. Okay, we're doing core vocabulary. Mae. Mae.
ここの料理はまずい。
ここの料理はまずい。まずい。ここの料理はまずい。You don't really hear that in Japanese.
富士山の高さは3776メートルです。
富士山の高さは3776メートルです。Let's see where we at. 30. Yeah, so there's Fuji-san. 富士山の高さは3776メートルです。And this is 高さ。
お名前をカタカナで書いてください。
Alright, grab a curve fin. What do you think about doing J to J sentences? Well, at the beginning you don't want to do that at all, because you wouldn't even know what it means. What do you mean by J to J? Like, how would the question begin? Because right here, this is technically
お名前をカタカナで書いてください。
this right here is technically Japanese to Japanese. It's a Japanese audio. Now you got to find the Japanese sentence. So
お名前をカタカナで書いてください。
お名前をカタカナで書いてください. So I'm hearing it. I kind of know what it means. Write your name in kanji in katakana here, or write your name in katakana, please. And then I have to find it, and there it is. And then I would. So again, this is J to J. This is Japanese to Japanese sentences in this case. But this is main purpose of this is training your listening. In this case, though, unfortunately, the best way to do this would have been. Anyway, this is grab a curve fin. Ask me a question. What do you think about doing J to J sentences? And again, this would be good if I had a picture or an image that could represent this question. That would be great. But it doesn't exist. Like, how do you say something tastes bad other than showing somebody that assumes they're eating something, and then a picture that assumes that there's being out there? This means that are they sick, or are they throwing up, or are they? Well, anyway, bad taste is distasteful, and we know this mazui. And yeah.
まずい。
So the vocabulary,
こ
yes,
れが
is
この町
English
で
to
一番高いビルです。
Japanese. In the vocabulary is English to Japanese, and then the sentence portion of the vocabulary course is from Japanese audio to Japanese sentence. The grammar is done with the English sentence, but with a grammar point that's expressed in Japanese, and then you want to find out, okay, how would you say that word, say that sentence in Japanese? You know, and then I'd look for the sentence. So you don't have to say it ahead of time. Like right here,
これがこの町で一番高いビルです。
これは町、これがこの町で一番高いビルです。So you can say it from just hearing it. So based on hearing it, can you repeat it from what you just heard? Do you know what he's talking about before you look at it? Because if you're reading it, well, right here, now you can read it. It's like これがこの町で. So this, これが this, in this town, この町で in this town, 一番, the number one, 高い, number one tall building. You know, however you want to do it. You don't have to translate it, you just know what it means. So you're not thinking in English on this part. It's just Japanese to Japanese. But yeah, it's going to be different with grammar, and we're going to, the best Japanese to Japanese is the Japanese drama immersion. That is completely Japanese to Japanese, almost entirely. Half a month. Hansuki mae. Hansuki. Hansuki.
半月。
Hansuki. Hopefully that answers your question.
今
Sorry
日
about
は
that.
半日だけ仕事だ。
今日は半日だけ仕事だ。今日は半日だけ仕事だ。後ろ、
後ろ。
後ろ。
この服はとても安かった。
この服はとても安かった。安い。この服はとても安かった。Okay. Got what? Another, yeah, 4 more to go. 向かおう。向かおう。
向かう。
向かう。少ない。少ない。
少ない。
少ない。開く。To be opened.
開く。
開く。
あさっては休日です。
あさっては休日です。あさって。あさっては休日です。Okay. Next. All right. Last part. If you're wondering if you're still here, I don't know if Grabiker Finn is still here, but now I'm going to the. Well, never mind. I got to do 21 of these. Then I'll be doing to right here Zettai Kadeshi, which is pretty much all Japanese to Japanese. Toraku, toraku, toraku,
トラック。
toraku. Moshikomu, moshikomu, moshikomu,
申し込む。
moshikomu. And if you notice, if you haven't, you can see it's like, even though it's English, in order for me to answer this, I have to know what the word is. Now, I'm giving myself a lot of tips. Like, this is a kurigana, so it's kanji and hiragana. And crowded means it's the kanji for crowded is in here. So this is komu. Kondeiru, komu.
混む。
And like here's ticket, it might be tiketto, chiketto, which is a Japanese word, but it's a loan word. But also this is two kanji. This means one's for cut and one's for token. So it's kipu. I mean, but you have to know what the word is. I mean, just because you know the kanji doesn't help you. You definitely have to know how to pronounce the vocabulary word. Okay, that's nyujoken. Nyujoken. Nyujoken.
入場券。
入場券。貸し出す。貸し出す。貸し出す。And this is kasu, but it's not that, so it's kashidasu. It's almost the same meaning. Might have a different
貸し
meaning
出
for
す
word. Yachin. Alright. And for people who
Yachin.
are probably familiar with Japanese, they know these are basic vocabulary words, but there's 1,000 of these basic vocabulary words. So if you, again, you do have to take time to learn them. And if you notice also, these are vocabulary words that are using kanji. Miyokori. Miyokori. Miokuri. Miokuri. And right here it's like it's telling you whether it should be a verbal noun or not. So in this case it wouldn't be miokoru, miokuri in this case.
見送り
Miokuri. Elevator, elevator, elevator,
エレベータ
elevator. Keisan, keisan, keisan,
ー計算
keisan. Okay. But yeah, some people find fun with the. That's why all three parts are important. And so obviously I did the hiragana, katakana first. That's just, you don't even have to revisit that. You can almost once you get those down, you're going to be running into them a lot. That's why learn that kanji first is important because it makes this part a lot easier. In that, especially for these tips here. And then associate. You do start associating with the pronunciation because again you become very intimate with the kanji and then how they're pronounced in the various vocabulary words. And then of course we're doing grammar, which is treated a little bit differently. And that's mainly about. It's not about drilling it into be able to make out a Japanese sentence from memory. It's just understanding what you're reading, and then eventually you've been training yourself to speak spontaneously, even if you don't have the ability early on to generate Japanese sentences. Because pretty much early on, if you generate a Japanese sentence from your mouth, it's going to be, if it's not you repeating exactly something you've heard, you're going to be saying something incorrect most likely, and especially if you don't have a Japanese teacher there to correct you. But anyway, I'm getting off topic. So anyway, this is hirumae. Hirumae. Now you might say in the morning before noon. That could also be gozen. Goji gozen, which or kuji gozen, 9 a.m. So that's why also seeing these clues can help get rid of any ambiguity. Because again, nothing you hate worse than finding, when you start actually becoming very good in Japanese, and all of a sudden these questions are hard as hell to answer because you can think of 3 or 4 different answers that are all correct. All right. Well, this takes away the ambiguity. You kind of know what question they're asking for, but they're not just giving it to you anyway. So anyway, this is urikire, urikireru, urikireru, urikireru,
売り切れる
urikireru. Watasu, waru. It's not waru. It's should be wakeru. Wakeru. No, it's I feel like, no, it's watasu. 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 God damn it. Makashite. So, Sara o toshi to Sara o ochite wareru.
Wareru.
Wareru. Sorry about that. Wow. Wareru. Oh, and Anton. Hello. Hi, Anton. Welcome back. Hopefully you're past the kanji part and into vocabulary. To lend. So it's kasu. Kasu.
貸す
Rekodo. Rekodo.
レコード
Rekodo. Waru.
割る
How many more, Anton? So how many more kanji you got left before you get on to grammar? To move. Ugokasu. Ugokasu.
動かす
Ugokasu. Peiji. Peiji.
ページ
Peiji. Kyuko. Kyuko.
急行
Kyuko. Kagiru. Kagiru. And yeah, that's if you've been following the videos I've been doing for kanji, that's a recent one I covered up.
限る
Covered. Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. You were not having the time for active study. Jikan. No. Jidai. Jidai. No. No. Jiki. Jiki. Jiki.
時期
Jiki. Alrighty. So that does that. Alrighty. Okay, so that was the reviews there. So let's see, got a quick question. Anton says, well, I will go watch your videos with Kanji, so sound is muted, sorry. Okay, we'll check the stream out time to time. That's, yeah, nothing, you probably don't learn anything new from this stream, because this is just me reviewing. And again, if you're watching this as I have no problem if you ask questions or make statements.
なんでしょう
さあ、なんでしょう。さあ、なんでしょう。So anyway, Grabarker, I'm probably butchering your name. Assuming you're still watching in the stream, Grabarker fan, this is sort of, if you kind of see it, Okaishi, yeah, return something. So this is like almost completely Japanese to Japanese. But it's from Japanese audio, and you're supposed to be finding the Japanese subtitles. But if you can, repeat it as well. 2トン車は今日の12時までに出せば12時までに出せば
姉ちゃん
姉ちゃん誰まずい That means not good in this case.
じゃあ時間ないから急いでね
じゃあ時間ないから急いでねじゃあ時間ないから急いでね
どうすんのよ
どうすんの
伺う懐かしい
懐かしく
なんだこれ
さあ
さあなんでしょうああ姉ちゃん彼女 Okay, 117. Alright, so we got 24 minutes left in the stream. Let's go and finish this off.
ので
じゃあ急ぎだって言っといてね
じゃあ急いだって言っといてじゃあ急ぎだって言っといてね
大丈夫かな12時までにトラック出さなきゃいけないんだけどな
大丈夫かな12時までにトラック出せなきゃいけないんだけどな出せなきゃいけないんだけどな
トンじいちゃん
じいちゃんのシュークリームの味覚えている当たり前じゃないか
頼んだよはい
頼んだよはい頼んだよはい頼むよ
終わらせる
終わらせ
出せる
出せなきゃ出せければ
歌う
歌う伺う
急ぎご苦労さん
はい以上ご苦労さんはいご苦労さんAlright, got 10 more of these to go.
彼氏が心配で見に来ちゃったってか
彼氏が心配で痛いあ、here we go. 彼氏が心配で見に来ちゃったか来ちゃったって 違ったってか。うん。彼氏が心配。
まあそうですね。
まあ
兄ちゃんが
そうですね。ああ、まあそうですね。そうですね。
手伝ってあげるから早く終わらせよう。
手伝ってあげるから早く終わせ。あ、there's it. 終わせる。終わせよう。早く終わら。終わらせよう。終わらせよう。手伝ってあげるから早く終わらせるよ。
提出
提出。should be that one. 提出。
電池切れ
電池切れ。嘘。電池切れ。電池切れ。
頼む
頼む。タルム。
頼む
タルム。あんた最近タルムじゃない。
嘘。電池切れ。
嘘。電池切れ。嘘。電池切れ。
兄ちゃん頑張ってたよ。俺彼女
姉ちゃんの兄ちゃん頑張ってたよ。頑張ってたよ。兄ちゃん頑張ってたよ。
部下
33、34、35、30。
Okay, Rebecca Finn. Do you have any easy manga or visual novel recommendations? I don't even know what Yatsubato is. If you mean like stuff you can read, shit. I'll be honest. That's the purpose of these courses: is that you can make your own stuff easy, as long as you got access to the if you got access to the subtitle files, if it's something visual with audio involved, if it's got subtitles, or if you're just using transcripts, break it down sentence by sentence, and like I'm doing here, this is just subtitles broken down by sentence. It helps if you can get the clip of audio attached to that sentence, but just studying it from there, and then that novel or manga becomes something you can read. I'll be honest, the first set of mangas I read through on my own, it was after I finished Tai Kim, and I was trying to do Tai Kim, didn't really get too far, maybe a 500 to 1,000 vocabulary words in my lexicon at that time, and I was reading through Nijuseki Shonen, which is like 20th Century Boys or something. It's kind of hard to explain. Problem is, the thing about easy is like if it's a real Japanese manga, it's not going to be easy because it's going to contain, it might have easy phrases, but it's also going to have complicated phrases. It might have easy grammar, it's going to have complicated grammar, just depending, because again, it's Japanese. So I guess the way I would explain it is this: without knowing what your Japanese level is, take the transcripts, run those transcripts through a tool called the Japanese Text Analysis Tool, JTAT. All right, and that'll give you, but do it in small segments of, like, say, only 2 pages, throw 2 pages at a time into there, and develop the frequency, get the vocabulary list from there, and from there learn that vocabulary first, and then if you want to read the manga or the transcripts, keep reading it, and if you come to a sentence you don't understand, start studying that sentence, like break out a dictionary and figure out what the sentence is saying, and go from there. That's just one thing. If you get to your level, or you can just read it for fun, just pick any manga you want and just read through it. If you don't know what something is, so be it. Just keep reading it, skip over what you don't know. Boom, 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 boom. Another thing is you can just have a marker and just per page mark at most 2 things. All right, boom, boom. And so each page, and then later on in the evening when you're ready, go back to that manga and look up words from the words that you marked. Look those up and just kind of go back and maybe reread it. But now you're kind of actively studying as you read it. There's all sorts of different things you can do. Ultimately, though, no, I don't know what to recommend, because I don't
そういや兄ちゃんどこ行ったんだ。
I never found those fun anyway. I've never found something that was marked as beginning manga or beginning visual novels as fun. It was just so simple. The stories were just so simple as to being mundane or just dull.
そういや兄ちゃんどこ行ったんだ。
そういや兄ちゃんどこいたんだ。どこいたんだ。そういや兄ちゃんどこいたんだ。そういや兄ちゃんどこいたんだ。
親父。
親父さ。Or that's your father also, another way of saying dad.
大丈夫です。
大丈夫です。
任せてください。
任せてください。
じゃあ一番ね。
大丈夫です。任せてください。Leave it to me. 任せてください。
おまけ。
おまけ。頑張ってくれたら、2000円おまけ。おまけ。here. おまけ。
あ、姉ちゃん彼女だろ。
姉ちゃん彼女だろ。ああ、姉ちゃん彼女だろ。
さあ。
さあ。さあ。
本日の夕方頃回収に伺います。
はい。では本日の夕方頃回収に伺います。伺います。
本日の夕方頃回収に伺います。
回収に伺います。じゃあ本日の夕方頃回収に伺います。
彼ならちょっとトイレに。
彼ならちょっとトイレに。大丈夫かな。12時までだ。とにかく出せなきゃいけないで。
ありがとう。
なければね。ありがと
う。ないと。
もう大丈夫だよ。
And if I wanted to,
手伝
what I could do if I wanted to is like going through here, I can hit I. Let's see. Come on. Does it give me a chance? It's not giving me a chance. That's not good. Oh, okay, I know why. If it's on this page, it can't. But if it's on the, let's say I would say, all right, screw this. See the answer. I can click see the answer. When that page comes up, I can hit I, and I can now ignore it. Anyway.
ないと。
もう大丈夫だよ。
ないと。もう大丈夫だよ。手伝ってあげたら早く終わったよ。合わせるよ。I'm talking too much. Sorry. I need to keep reviewing.
波切さんが来たらこれ渡して。
波切さんが来たらこれ渡して。渡して。波切さんが来たらこれ渡して。
地球。
地球。地球。I don't know that word. I still don't know that word.
いけないんだけどな。
すぐ戻ってくると思うので。
すぐ戻ってくれると思うので。すぐ戻ってくると思うので。すぐ戻ってくると。
はい。リーコは最高の彼女ですから。
はい、リーコは最高の彼女ですから。はい、リーコは最高の彼女ですから。
魔法。
あともし出かけるなら。
鍵ポストに入れていて。あともし出かけるなら
ご苦労さん。
はい、ご苦労さん。
いい彼女持ったね。
いいじゃん。いい彼女持ったね。はい。ご苦労さん。いいじゃん。いい彼女持ったね。はい。リーコは最高の彼女です。
描く。
書く。
姉ちゃん誰？
なんだこれ。さあ、
35万円。
35万円。
これ全部ナイトが。
よかった。
これ全部ナイトが OK まあ
なんですよ。
お前どっかで勉強したの？
いえ、自己流ですけど。
記事作ってきたんですよ。記事作ってきたんですよ。お前どこで勉強したの？お前どこで勉強したの？お前どこで勉強したの？
朝本の1号店、じいちゃんの店。
松本の1号店1号店 Sounds like 1-5-15 1号店松本の1号店じいちゃんの店
リキュール。
リキュール
いってらっしゃい。
いってらっしゃいいってらっしゃい
この度
この度
ます
はい、よろしくお願いいたします。
はいよろしくお願いいたしますはいよろしくお願いいたします
どっか行くの？
どこ行くの
あ、
どこ行くのうん
えどういうこと？
それは
どういうことどういうことどういうことどういうこと
クリームは詰めやすいように冷やしておきます。
クリームは詰めやすいようにクリームは詰めやすいように冷やしておきます詰めやすいようになんとなく Alrighty, we're at 10 minutes left. Probably get 2 more done. I'll just leave the rest for tomorrow.
自己流ですけど。
いえ、自己流。Okay. いえ、自己流ですけど。いえ、自己流ですけど。どこで So maybe if they ask where you studied Japanese, you can say, yeah, 自己流ですけど。
ちょっと出かけてくるね。
Like if they ask, like, did you study in school or something? You know, oh no, I studied on the. I usually tell them to say it on the internet, but I guess Jiko to you, it's a self-study, makes sense.
デートしようか。
ごめん、ちょっと
ごめん、
出かけてくる。
ちょっと出かけてくるね。
All right, so let's see. Grab Barker Ken, is there any way to increase how many reviews you do? I'm not sure. What are you asking about? Like, all right. The purpose of this here is to make you review as little as possible while still retaining the memory of what you learned. All right. So it's not about practice. It's about practice the minimum amount. So making the most amount of time so you learn more and more. So it's not about practicing 10 words 100 times each. It's about maybe practicing 100 words 10 times each. Because you'd rather know maybe 90% of 100 things and 100% of 10 things. Assuming, let's see, is there a way to, I find it annoying to review 10 each time. Oh, okay, I see what you mean. No, okay, that's a little different. Currently, no. It blocks at 10, so you just quickly, gives you a quick little pause for about once a minute and then you just go into it. Could help, it could, you are right, that can get annoying, but for memorize, there's no way to increase it. Anki is no problem. You can set it up in blocks. It's almost no issue with Anki if you're using Anki.
デートしようか。
ごめん、
ちょっと
ちょっと出かけてくるね。
出かけてくるね。
カスタードクリーム。
カスタードクリーム。カスタードクリーム。カスタードクリーム。
見ちゃったんですよ、室長が描いた絵。あれって
見ちゃったんですけど、室長の絵描いた絵。
見ちゃったんですよ室長が描いた絵
描いた絵
あれって
室長が描いた絵
丁寧
丁寧丁寧
一つ一つ丁寧に作らなくてダメなんだぞ。
ケーキは一つ一つ丁寧に作らないとダメだぞ。Did you quit? Yeah, Anki actually is still better. However, graphic cards, I said, did you quit using Anki? Again, what I explained is that when I did about 8 years ago, or roughly 8 years ago or whatnot, I put in what was called the suggested guide for beginners, and I put that on the website Kanji.kohi, the forums for Kanji.kohi.com, and so on here it was I think it was learning resources. Let's see, is it right here? Maybe it was Japanese language, who knows? Let's see. Yeah, Nuke Marine Suggested Guide for Beginners. So this was from 2010, so almost 7 years ago, whatnot. And so I posted this way, and it was like using a lot of Anki or whatnot. And then the problem is Anki is not a lot user friendly until you like study a little bit, and then if you want to change some stuff, you got to study it even more. It can be a little finicky or whatnot. And if I made changes or edits or anything to improve the material, which I was designing for this beginners and whatnot, the only way is if if someone's already downloaded it, they're not going to get the changes. The good thing about Memrise is that again, I can slowly edit it. I can create this layout and make sure people see it in the right format. It was just a lot more user friendly for using Memrise. Not for me making the course. It's freaking hard to make a course using Memrise because it's tedious as all hell.
一つ一つ丁寧に作らなくてダメなんだぞ。
Right. ケーキに一つ一つ丁寧に作らないとダメなんだぞ. But yeah, I did quit using Anki. I'm using Memrise. I think it's fair that I keep using Memrise because I'm having other people use it, and that way I can know if there are mistakes or if there is something I need to fix. I'm always having it available. Plus, I'm going through these courses that I create, so now I can make some edits, changes, or improvements to whatever the courses have, and then everybody sees those edits, changes, or improvements.
好きだったなじいちゃんのシュークリーム。
好きだったなじいちゃんのシュークリーム。好きだったなじいちゃんのシュークリーム。
5
Go. This one right here.
鍵
Gagi. I will say this one thing for Finn. What I'm going to do for Anki, I'm pretty sure I will, is all this stuff I've done for Memrise, I'm going to download all this information again and then put those back up. I won't put this on Memrise because, again, this will get taken out because normally anything dealing with subs to SRS gets taken off the Anki servers because of copyright issues, even though this is should be covered under fair use. I think it's fair for me to do this is fine because but yeah, fair use issue is going to be a big thing. But yeah, copyright, they'll be taken down. The other things I can do shouldn't be a problem, especially for the core whatnot. Yeah, it's just kind of but yeah, just kind of like put up some the Anki decks and just give it the little SGJL acronym or abbreviation in the title so people know what they are, and then get through 1 through 12 and people can just download the decks that way. Keep them all separate, but whatnot.
鍵
Kagi.
お前のシュークリーム食ったらさ、なんか懐かしくなっちゃって。
お前のシュークリーム食ったらさ懐かしくなっちゃって。お前のシュークリーム食ったらさ、なんか懐かしくなっちゃって。Alright, let's see, that's alright, got about 50 of these. I'll just leave it for later. Okay, I'm hitting the 3-hour mark for the stream, so I'm going probably call that a day or so for this. be back tomorrow anyway. All right, so I'm up to lesson 32, so that means 5 more lessons, and we'll be finished with me doing these whole video things. I can get back and actually, part of the thing is going to be me actually learning new stuff, which even saying, if I say learning, I should do air quotes, even though you can't see me doing air quotes, is because, again, this is up until I am done, pretty much, with the exception of, come here. Alright, so pretty much this 1 through 12, I've already studied all that before. You know, I've already studied like kanji. I was up to like 2,500 kanji via the RTK method. Vocabulary was like up to either 3,000, close to 3,500 for vocabulary. So I definitely had all 2,000 of these core vocabularies. And this was like 8 years ago, or 7 or 8 years ago, or whatnot. This is all new. This dictionary of basic Japanese grammar, although it covers points that I already know. So this would be something new for me. Some of them words are new, and I did Zettai Kureshi episode 1 way back when, again 7 or 8 years ago. But also during that time, but yeah, episode 2 is new for me. Episode 3 and episode 4 is going to be new when I do those. And I'm going to be going over some other dramas as well. That are, you know, maybe the first episode will be something I did before, but then the second, third, and fourth episode of the dramas I wouldn't have done before. And part of me is still thinking about getting into making some, you know, not just doing dramas, but doing maybe 1 or 2, maybe 3 anime that I consider interesting, like me personally. So part of me is thinking Death Note, One Punch Man, and what's the last one? It's Death Note, One Punch Man, and maybe Shingeki no Kyojin, because those are at least the 3 anime that I find enjoyable to watch. I don't really watch anime all that much, if at all. Those are the only 3 of which I've actually spent time watching. And even Death Note, I didn't really watch except maybe halfway through, and then didn't finish it because I think at that time I was trying to watch it only in Japanese, which could be difficult and it was not as fun. But maybe if I treated it like I'm doing here for this drama immersion, it'll be a lot more fun. But anyway, so yeah, so do Japanese dramas, but I might again toss in some anime in there as well. It depends on how I feel. And then I want to try to think about doing also 1 book. Maybe Harry Potter, you know, as an example, could be something of interest. But part of me is saying like that kind of defeats the purpose of the benefit of this whole thing for Japanese drama immersion is having that audio. And if I did Harry Potter, I have to use this computer-generated audio, the text-to-speech audio, which is not as good, nowhere near as good as having a native speaker saying these lines. And anyway, so it's a give and a take. And I don't know of any resource that has it where you have the audio and then it's a person reading a book and they happen to have subtitles for the audio when they're reading it, like the lyrics or something. And then, you know, if it had that, I think what is it? I think Subs SRS does accept lyrics for you know, audio lyrics. And it'll actually split up your songs if they have audio lyrics based on the timing value of that one. But again, this is neither here nor there. I think for myself, I should keep it simple and just keep it to dramas, even if in my mind, you know, it feels like okay. Anime is a good choice because then anime at least has manga attached to it, and because I think One Punch Man has a manga that follows closely to what's in the comic or what's in the anime. So One Punch Man does it. I think Shingeki no Kyojin kind of follows what you see although it changed, the timelines are changing, so that may be off and on there. And then same with I want to say One Punch Man. One Punch Man kind of follows along. What you see in the anime and what you see in the manga kind of follow close together. So that gives you something where you can watch, you can listen, and also you can read. And when you're reading it, you hear the characters' voices in your head as you're reading. So that's why it would be, if you studied the anime, you now have reading material in the form of the manga. So I would be comfortable with at least those 3 there. But I still prefer live action drama because the voices aren't as exaggerated. You don't have high-pitched girls talking or guys talking like they're gangsters wanting to kill everybody and their mother, you know, whatnot. It's just I don't know. I'm going off topic anyway. So anyway, this is the end of the stream. Thank you for if you've been watching. Thank you. If you're watching this in the future, thank you from the future. If you've enjoyed this video, consider liking it. If you haven't already, if you you can consider subscribing. I'm making new videos every day at the moment. They're all the same 3 hours, me randomly doing stuff or studying Japanese, even a pseudo-structured manner, and so a lot of talking. Probably too much. And yeah, that's that. It's just me and a computer screen, and you just hear my voice, and there's the computer screen. That's it. Nothing really fancy or complicated. Grabber-kun-san, Anton, thank you for asking your questions. Hopefully it was entertaining today. And if you find like some of the videos which I'm making are useful for other people to learn Japanese, consider sharing it on social media. All right. Good places to share or talk about or learn about learning Japanese. Kanji.kohi.com is a good forums for talking about Japanese. Learn Japanese subreddit is also a good source or whatnot. Try to go in there and ask the question, how do I learn Japanese? Because they're going to shut you down fast. But say like about if you have a question about your particular portion of Japanese you're trying to learn, then they'll probably help you out with that part. And then there's the Discord here. Wow, it's kind of quiet right now, but yeah, the Discord server is also available. I don't know the particular link to the site. I think I got the link in the description below, so you can find it there. Alright, so I will be back tomorrow. I don't know what time. I never do. I keep changing it. Hopefully my voice stays, doesn't go away. That would be bad. Alright, see you tomorrow.